And we are live, apparently, supposedly. Late streamer. I guess that's me. Um, and we are. Oh, it's a cool song. All right, let me. Oh, the song. Well, I'm going to start the song over. I like to have the song play in its entirety. Let me just hit boost. I'm actually better at doing the blue sky, the linked in the link in the thing, not doing a picture because anyway, can hear you. Thank you. First off, I want to say hello to Cornbread, Purple Goop, Super Adusky, Nathaniel Foga. I think I saw Austin, Ramiku Hiraku Shrine. I recorded those lines. I need to send them to you if you're going to ask me about that. Hello, Purple Goop. Hello, everyone who is here tonight. Is going to be Classic Cameron. How's it going? Is going to be. There's a lot of news tonight. I was a little surprised earlier in the week. I was like, I don't know, but it's gonna be crazy. Anyway, let us. Oh, Shan talks more movies. Hello. Well, I haven't checked out that movie, but I will. I was going to when it comes out. To that, I think we talked about that before, but yeah. Anyway, hello, welcome to Movie Crap Live. How are you doing tonight? It's very nice to see you guys on this July Thursday. But yeah, it's. Oh, Jordan Salaflo is here. Pup is here. Okay, we're getting a good audience. I'm actually on time for once, but it's good to be on time. So I am a little worried about going over. I know I say that almost every show, but there's a lot of stuff this week. Oh no, I will talk about the Colbert thing early on in the show. Don't worry. I don't think I'm with everyone else on that, but we'll get to that in a second. I hope you guys have been having a good night. I don't think anyone guessed the energy drink, so I guess when someone does super chat, you will discover that. But I guess before we start the show, I'll talk about a few things. This is probably the minorest little thing that I discovered this past week. But if you saw like this thing, and it was like they in New York, they said there was a Jack Kirby, a street named after Jack Kirby in around Delancey and Essex, which is a big subway stop. It's where I see movies usually. Javier Portello with the first super chat. Okay, we'll show off what it is, and then I will continue with my story. I got my fillings this week. Oh, okay. Congrats. Anyway, it is. We've had it before. Lucky. I guess I should have said trucky. You know what? I sort of messed it up. Anyway, it is a clean energy, whatever that is. But maybe I messed that up. Apologies. Hello, Modelo Butterfly. But Javier Portillo said Paul Blart and Captain Planet crossover. I will talk about Captain Planet. That's an interesting one. Cheers to you, Javier Portillo. Is there like ice? Oh God, I forgot I don't like this. All right. Hello, Super Kirby dude. Yeah. So if you saw, thank you for the super chat, Javier Portillo. If you saw the video, it was like everywhere. And it was like they named a street after Jack Kirby, and they had the Fantastic Four logo, and because that's more of his thing, and all that stuff. So, Super Adusky, there's stuff you can get for your ear. Sorry. Sorry. There's stuff you can get for your ear to like put in it and clear. Anyway, you probably know, but I can't come up with a name. You DM me on something, I will tell you what it is. Apologies. But there is a thing to clear. Sorry. Anyway. Anyway. But I feel bad for you. That sucks when you have your thing. But yeah, so you saw this video everywhere. It's like Jack Kirby sign. And it's right where I see movies at the Regal Essex there. And so I was like, I'm seeing Superman. I saw Superman. There'll be a review soon. And I thought, I'll get like a picture or video of it. I used to live around there a long time ago. And I thought, the people I used to live with, I'll send them a picture. I didn't realize that was like where Jack Kirby lived and stuff. And they're calling it Yancey Street. And then I'll get to these super chats after the story. And then I go, and it's not there. And then I discover on the like I found the exact location where it would be because I knew the buildings and stuff because I'm there a lot. And It was just a photo op. There was no street sign. They never. It was not a real thing. I was kind of pissed off because I was like, "What the fuck was that?" Then it was just a dumb photo op with his grandchildren, and they didn't really name the street Jack Kirby Street or Jack Kirby Way. I don't know. I found it a little upsetting. It was like, yeah, but if you see the video, it's just like a street sign attached to like one they made, and it's like held down by sandbags. It's not like a different street sign for Jack Kirby. It was like, what's going on? Anyway, so you see that video, all nonsense. It's not even there. It wasn't there on Monday, and almost everyone I saw posted that it wasn't there like even later in that day. Like it was just there for the photo op. It was like, why did you even do that? I don't know. Maybe it's like going to be later, but most of the time when you dedicate a street in New York, they show it when it's on the street sign. So I don't understand what was going on there. It's very weird. But almost everyone I've talked to who went to see it said it never saw it. So I've never spoken to anyone. Maybe people who were there for the photo op, but I mean, it's cool that they're giving credit to Kirby with Fantastic Four because I think that makes the most sense, particularly with the Galactus stuff. But it's still like, what was that about? I don't fully understand it, and I couldn't find an explanation. If someone finds it, I'd actually be curious. Anyway, Bloxy says Soups can now call himself a hero like Paul Blart. I like how Paul Blart. Should I be reviewing the sequel to Paul Blart? Now I'm sort of wondering if I should there. Cheers to you, Bloxy. And then, oh man, there's a lot of stupid ads here. And then Modelo Butterfly early with the $1 super chat. I appreciate it. Thank you. It's more of a late in the show. This is weird because it has like a like this cat on, I don't know. It was on sale. That's honestly the only reason. And I saw it and I was like, let's just take care of this. Anyway. All right. Yeah, I was a little surprised by that. Anyway. All right. What were the other things? Oh, I rewatched. Where are we? Where are we? Sorry. I rewatched Do the Right Thing because my wife had never seen Do the Right Thing, so we watched it. And you know what? That movie is still amazing, and I decided I need to watch that. It needs to be more of a yearly thing because I loved that movie when I was a kid, and I remember it pretty well. My only real observation that I hadn't noticed before, other than that ending, is amazing. Like, Jesus, I don't know. It's sort of a messy movie, but it's a really great movie, and I should eventually do a review of that as well because it's a movie that I loved a lot when I was getting early into film. And I know I live near. I could probably walk to where the block is, and I've never done it because it feels like a weird. Like I have too much respect for that movie to like take a picture of myself in front of Sal's Pizzeria. But I never noticed Phil Harris. I didn't know who Phil Harris, who the comedian, who's in House Party and Baby's Kids and other stuff. I didn't realize he was in that. I don't think I knew who Phil Harris was the last time I watched it because it's been a long time. But goddamn, what an incredible movie! Like I don't know. I really do love. I do love Spike Lee, and I think it's 100% that. Also, he was really good in it. Like, why doesn't he act more? He was legitimately very good. Just it's amazing seeing all the people and all that stuff. Anyway, just if you've never seen Do the Right Thing, see it. You will if you're ever like, why do people like Spike Lee so much? Um, just see Do the Right Thing. You'll get it. Classic Cameron, Jim, we need you to start a letterbox already. The only reason, okay, I'll answer this. Cheers to you, Classic Cameron. I think I've answered this before, but I'll answer it again. The main reason I don't is because most of my movie watching life gets posted online anyway. And one, sometimes I just like to watch stuff without anybody knowing because I've been doing this kind of so long. And two, I don't know if you noticed this. I don't like rating things ever. Like I don't like it. I will look at someone else's and judge them, but I really will not really do. I don't like to do it myself. Like sometimes I'll like a movie a lot that's like a like what was it? Captain America: Brave New World. I don't think that's a great movie, but I understood the context of what it is and I enjoyed it for that. And I don't know. It's just not my thing. I know someone was doing one for me where they take my reviews and sort of do that, and that's fine if people want to do that. I have no issue with that, but I just don't personally want to Well, I don't know. I think it's really cool. And if I was younger and not doing this, I would have one and I would have gotten into it. But I don't know. I don't know. I go back and forth. Sometimes like I should just do it. I tried to do one like last summer or whatever the summer with Asteroid City was, that 2 years ago, and I did tried to write a different one, and I don't know. It's just like I'm too busy, and having another social media app just makes me makes me upset at this point. I'm like, no, no more. I don't want another one. But I think it's cool. Everyone else should do it. Have fun. I just don't. It doesn't work for me. But the ones I don't review, I usually talk about on here. So I feel like you get some. Okay, two things, two friends things. I saw Nolan's thing. I was very aware that that was going to happen. Um, I, Nolan's been my friend for forever. I love Nolan, and I support him, and I believe in rehabilitation, and I'm excited for what's to come for him. I know I've been in contact with him this whole time, and he's been working on himself, and I'm very proud of him. And that's my view on that. I've always been a supporter of that dude, and I will continue to be. And I'm glad that he is coming back. I'm excited for it, frankly. Um, so, in case anyone wanted to ask me about that, the other thing is congrats to Saber on getting engaged. I told him that myself already, but I just wanted to say congrats publicly on the show, and that's really amazing. I've not met his fiance, but at some point I probably will, and that'll be cool. But congratulations to Saber. My two canceled friends. I guess. I support both. They're still cool in my book. Anyway, let's just move on because there is like a lot. Sorry if this is a small. I'm trying to do smaller intros. I don't think. Oh, okay. Hold on. There's one thing I didn't want to talk about. I've noticed people are talking about Pearl. I mean, that is a real thing. If you uh um if you're in why actors want to be in auteur movies, because other directors will actually watch them in those movies. That's like a real thing. Like that's why like people will take a pay cut to be in a like a Scorsese or something, because they know other directors will watch that movie. And I think like Pearl was sort of worked out for him in that way. I guess I want to give a song shout out. I've been meaning to post this, but it's by the Buzzy Bunch and Sealy Bay. And James Gunn's been making these playlists on Spotify for like Superman, Mr. Terrific. I think Lois and Superman have playlists, and he made one. And there's this cool disco song called Superman by Sealy Bay and the Buzzy Bunch. I highly recommend it. It's a little uh, I don't know what you're talking about. She rides shotgun. I don't think I saw it. Anyway, I just wanted to recommend that. And then let's move on. All right, this and everything I do is supported by you, you, sorry, you, the fans, either through super chats during the show, where I will drink this lovely energy drink here, and it will also give me energy because it's been a long day, despite the fact that I have had a lot of coffee tonight. But help me continue to do this. But you can also click below on my Patreon, where you get all sorts of cool stuff like my commentary series. You get postcards for $10 and up patrons. I actually was working on those tonight. They'll probably be mailed out tomorrow. You get access to my public access shows. The only way to watch it on demand. Supposedly, the Ryan Coogler one has been playing lately, but other than that, I don't think most of them do. So it's the only way to watch that. You get to help me continue to do what I do, make flyers, stickers, all sorts of things like that. Hopefully, buy new equipment one day. It all helps me continue to do this show and continue to run this channel. And I very much appreciate if you're financially able to do so, or do a super chat during this. Also, I think I'm not good at mentioning this. I will not be here next week. So if you were like, I'll wait till next week, you can either do it the week after or this week and all that. But anyway, thank you very much for any financially support that you can give. I very much appreciate it. If you're financially able to do so, if not, just liking and liking this video or subscribing very much helps, or just watching. If you're just someone who watches, I thank you very much for doing so. Also, the Discord, which is run amazingly well by Zane Powers, Austin Cornbread, and Ryan Wilcherson, do a great job. They have all sorts of things like the Ask Jim channel, which I answered a lot of the questions. I think there's more that's popped up. There's suggestions. You can give me suggestions on things I can do. You can talk about movies. You can talk about animation. There's general, where we do a daily question every day. They're watching The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I'm actually going to watch that. I'm going to watch the BBC one around my birthday because I'm hitting a particular hitchhiker age. I think you can figure that one out. But they do all sorts of cool things. It is a really good Discord. I actually get compliments on my Discord, which again is like, you guys are a really cool audience. It's really awesome. And it's a great Discord and it's a great community. And if you like everyone talking in the chat and you're like, I'd like to hang out there, you can. You can answer the daily questions later. Just please actually reply to them, because otherwise it's just a weird message. But everyone's been doing that. I'm just telling you the context. I wasn't signaling everyone out. And Friday they're doing the movie watch. I'm assuming you're doing the movie. I'm not the biggest fan of the movie personally. I haven't actually read the book in like forever, and I used to have that big book of all of them, and I was really into it in middle school and high school. And now I'm like, I remember parts, and anyway, let's get into it. So basically, I want to preface what this show is actually going to be. There's other news, but we're going to have major sections on Superman, what the box office is, what that means, what the future of DC is. In addition, I put a lot of work in understanding the Paramount merger with South Park, which definitely helps with this Colbert thing that just happened. I was like, oh man, that worked out for me. But yeah, I actually was spending a lot of time understanding the whole Paramount South Park deal. That's going to happen later. So if you're like, what is the full deal with it? I actually do know the full deal, and I'll try to explain to you. So those will be longer parts, but there'll be other parts, like I will talk about a ton of trailers, and there's a lot of stuff to talk about. And I'll try to combine it and organize it, but it's a lot of stuff, so give me a break. And then we'll talk about the Fantastic Four episodes of it's basically the Galactus two-parter from the 94 cartoon. Nick Gerard, I just talked about this. Is that a joke? I'm not sure. Anyway, there is a Discord. It's linked in the description. It's really cool. Anyway. All right, so let's talk about the Zelda casting. The Zelda movie, which is coming out, what's it, 2 years? 2027? 2026? I'm going to say it's not 2026. I actually didn't write down. Is it 2027? 2027. That's good, because I'm like, you're not going to finish that in time. Anyway, Zooey Deschanel. Oh, yeah, she's in that. So we learned about the two kids who I have never heard about in my life, probably, unless someone's like, you read that. This guy, Bo Bregerson, will play Zelda, and Bo Bregerson, she will play Zelda, and Benjamin Evan Enosworth will play Link. This is, of course, by Les Ball, who directed directed the three Maze Runners, as well as directed the Last Planet of the Apes. Looking at the pictures they posted, that they've been posting on Deadline and all that shit, they look like 80s. Like, look, I was a kid. I was a kid when, obviously, because it just sort of revealed my age in a way. I was a kid when the Nintendo came out, and I remember Zelda, and you see these little like, boop, 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 hey Austin, how's it going? Boop, boop, things, and I always pictured it as, because that was modern at the time, an 80s fantasy thing, like Willow. I was really into Willow. You probably know this, but this to me, when I look at those pictures, I was like, yeah, they look like people who would be in Neverending Story and Willow and all the other 80s fantasy big budget things. To me, it's like, it looked, the few pictures, I was like, yeah, these look kind of perfect. I don't know if it's going to be an 80s fantasy thing, but they look like they have the look of fantasy people. I think, how many times they're going to say, excuse me, princess, is really, is the real question. Like, how many times is he going to say it? And then I would love it. I would seriously love it if she says something. It goes, well, excuse me, and then it'll pause, and the whole audience will be like, and it'll say, he won't. I think he should say it. I'm very excited in 2 years to review the Zelda cartoon. Maybe I'll watch all of them. Maybe I'll only refuse to watch them except on a Friday. Man, there was a Willow Nintendo game. I played it. It sucked. Everyone told me I'm not an RPG person or really a game person, so. I'm fine with this casting. Literally every picture I've seen of these people, I'm like, yep, looks good. I like have no objection. I thought it was looks good casting. Now the big thing is like, can they act? I'm assuming they can. I'll just give them the benefit of the doubt on that. But right now, I think it 20. Excuse me, princess. Excuse me, princess. And what's funny is when I was a kid, I thought that was I just didn't recognize that as being stupid. I was just like, yeah, okay. And then when I was in college, people would be like, "Oh, you watched that show on Friday," and then they do it, and I'm like, "The fuck are you talking about?" So I don't understand the crown thing. By the way, the top fans thing. I don't know if like if that bothers anyone, I'll try to turn it off. This has been a thing that happened when I did a stream or a premiere last night or the other night. I have no clue the deal with it. I might turn it off just at some point. So apologies if it offends anyone. That's not wasn't my some of this YouTube stuff is not my doing. So if there is a way to turn it off, I might. But um, uh, yeah. Anyway, but I think it's. I think I don't know. I don't love everybody being ranked, but that's whatever. Um. So, but anyway, the Donkey Kong movie. Now, apparently, they've gotten a copyright for Universal for the Donkey Kong movie. Everyone's bringing up how it's funny because they sued Nintendo because Donkey Kong and all that stuff. Even though Universal already made a movie with Donkey Kong, I was a little surprised they just put Donkey Kong in that Mario movie and then they're sort of spinning off from it. I'm assuming that is why. That is why Nico, don't post spoilers. And also, he probably had like some he probably had iron on it or something. But don't please don't post spoilers if that's okay. Sorry. Um the Donkey Kong movie, no offense. You seem cool. I just, let people see the movie. Um I think it's fine with a Donkey Kong movie. I thought it was gonna happen. I'm surprised they waited this long since the Mario movie. It seems a little weird, but I know what we're seeing, and I'll talk about this a little later uh, with how brands are working with studios. They are sort of running at their own pace, and no studio actually wants to be um, bought. And no company who makes this stuff wants to be bought by a studio anymore. They want to be um, uh, they want to be they want to do their own thing. Um, so thanks, Super Dusky. So that's probably why the weird time thing with that. All right, the Colbert thing. I think this is a huge story. I wanted to do Nintendo first. I probably should have done Colbert first. So what have we learned, and what's the deal with that? So tonight, like hours ago, when did this post? 4:21. I think we learned about it later than that. Maybe it's LA time. Anyway, doesn't matter. We learned that uh, CBS has announced Thursday that it plans to end the Late Show after the next TV season, citing a financial decision. The show started in 1993 when Letterman left NBC for another network. Thus, the show was created. It has been running ever since. Um, Here's the thing. I know everyone has a lot of things with this, and they have a lot of theories. And I guess the context of this is Paramount, who's having this merger, which again we'll talk about later, to get this merger approved because Trump was suing CBS because of the 60 Minutes piece. They and then they settled with him to calm it down to get this merger approved, and they paid him off. It's done. It's kind of stupid, but the Late Show was then hurt, taken off a few days or a little bit after that, and many people feel that is uh, part of it. This is part of that. Now, let me be real on this. Um, I, I actually, when my daughter did that thing with Jimmy Fallon on Recess Therapy, I started watching 11:30 shows again. Just had them on, because I'm usually up that late, like working on videos and stuff. But I uh I have a hard time like the 11:30 shows, Fallon and Colbert, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, but they're so bad I cannot get through them like physically. I'm like often like Jesus fucking hell. It's like they're so bad, and I'm like I really do have a hard. I'm not trying to be performative. Like every time, like I used to sometimes watch Colbert and it was fine, but like I just really like I think we watched it when Zoran was on, and it's really horrible. Like it's very bad, and to me, I think, and I know that show's ratings aren't great. It costs about $65 million a year. It does not get $65 million a year ratings, and it's been declining year to year. And as I've been watching late night shows, and the only good one in my mind is Seth Meyers. That's a great show. I actually had a good late night thing. This is a sidebar, but I had a really good late night experience where it was like I caught the end of Jimmy Fallon. I didn't see any of him, and Clips performed, and their new album's amazing, and that was a great performance. And it led into Seth Meyers, and it had like James Gunn, Kelly Ripa, her husband, which was a pretty good interview actually. And I was like a really good lineup, although I fell asleep before James Gunn, so I missed James Gunn. But I need to. I could watch it on YouTube, I'm sure. Anyway, but it was like I was like, man, this is really good. But I've known for a while like which show is going down, and I'm not shocked because Colbert was at one time. I mean, he is leading in the ratings actually, which is kind of interesting. But I think there's a couple things going on with that and why NBC is probably okay. But like I did not think that these shows were all going to be around in 10 years. Um, but the other thing is like their cultural relevance has gone way down. Like when was the last time, other than Skibbity Biden, that we've seen anything from him? And that was hugely embarrassing. Like that was not like, oh cool, look what he did, Skibbity Biden. I think most of them were like, this is flat out bad. Uh, like this is very embarrassing. And he's actually the only performer, and I've said this before. I don't think I've said this here, but I've thought this before. That literally went from being the toast of like my age group, like my age group was into him. Like the younger people were. I'm not really young, but like at the time, younger people were into them. And now he's like entertainment for my parents, and that's not like I'm saying like, oh, it's for boomers, haha. But it's saying like I've never seen an entertainer go up like that, and it kind of didn't. It ends up hurting you because he's like not cool to me at all anymore. Maybe he'll do something interesting after this. I just don't buy it at this point. But like, it's not been a very good show. It costs like SNL costs about $100 million a year. This show costs 65 and just doesn't have the SNL huge numbers. Also, SNL the reruns do well. It does well on YouTube. That's revenue. It does well on Peacock. Colbert like barely has a presence on Paramount Plus. Like they don't really promote that show very well. They could probably give it a Pluto channel. They could like the renaissance of Johnny Carson is because of his Pluto channel. There's a lot they could have done with it to help the show out, honestly. But I do think that show, it was surging the first term of Trump. But I think anything that those I'm not sorry, I'll get to you, Austin. Any buzz that those shoes had pre-COVID has really not come back. Like I don't think like all that Trump stuff he was heavy into got really annoying after a certain point because like I'd watch the show and that's like all he'd talk about. And like I'm not saying we should ignore Trump, but at a certain point you're like, is this like all you fucking have? And even like John Oliver, who is probably the one political thing everybody seems to like that show. Even though it's so formatted, it's a little ridiculous. Um, well, I think if you don't have relevance on Paramount Plus and Paramount Plus doesn't have relevance, that's not a good sign, is it? Um, I I just think it's like this show has been declining. They were going to have to cancel it. It's an expensive show. Skydance is looking at the finances of practically everything. They delayed the start of Yellow Jackets, which is a huge hit, because of finances. They're fighting with Trey Parker and Matt Stone over finances. And if you're buying a thing and you look at an expensive late night show in 2025, I'm sorry, you're not making it. And I've noticed reporting on this is weird because people are bringing up the various liberal things he said. I don't think that's why, because like, why would they continue with South Park? They continue with South Park because it's making money, and Colbert is not making money, and it's not looking like in 10 years it's going to be making money. You know what I mean? Like, if you're appealing to an audience that's older than me, that audience is not going to accumulate. That audience is, like dying and shit. So, like, or going to bed earlier. Like, this is not moving in a good direction. I think if we were just talking financial, it makes more sense. But people bring up like, oh, At Midnight was canceled. At Midnight wasn't canceled. Taylor Tomlinson left At Midnight, and then they said, well, fuck it, we'll just end the show. That's not the same thing. I'm sorry. Like, they were going to give it a third season. In fact, they did, and then she left, and they said, fuck it. Like, so to me, it's like I think it's getting another season. That to me means the merger. It wouldn't affect the merger. I think it's a financial thing. There's no proof about the liberal stuff. If there is, I will change my tune about that. But as of right now, and as someone who looks through the Skydance Paramount merger, um, I just don't see it that way. I'm sorry. Like, I guess I'm supposed to, but I also think you're giving Colbert's jokes way too much credit. Then I don't think Trump gives a shit. Has he mentioned Colbert lately? Like, he will, if he tweets that stuff. Um, no, lots of right wing people are, but at the same time, that saying it was for political, I just think South Park. I think South Park is still a political show and still does political stuff and still criticizes Trump. So I think, like, saying that's why I use it for that. But it does do some conservative stuff, but Colbert is more conservative too, from my mind. So I don't know. I don't see it that way. I just think it's an expensive show. These are albatross kind of shows. I don't expect Fallon to have, at this point. I thought it was like 10. I think it's like 5, and he'll probably be the last host of the Tonight Show, sadly. And I think Seth Meyers. People were already saying it's not good for him that he didn't get any Emmy nominations. So we are looking at the end of late night. We do need to talk about that. That is the real thing that's going on. I do not think any of them will survive, but I also think they're not appealing to. I mean, Seth Meyers is appealing to me, and I'm old. Like, there's no one for college kids to watch on late night, and that's what they should have been doing. That's why Letterman blew up. That's why Conan blew up. And if you're not focusing on that, you fucked up. You fucked it up. And I think, like, they need to think about that. But Colbert ending was a thing that was going to happen, if not this year, in the next couple of years. It was an inevitability. I don't understand why people don't see it that way. But if there is something and Trump says, I did it, then it was political. But as of right now, I don't have that evidence. And I do not like to jump to conclusions like that unless I have evidence. And the evidence I have of the Paramount merger, and I understand those are right leaning, but I think it's honestly. I will get to the super chat. Sorry. I just don't think it. Sorry. I will get to the super chat. Apologies. I was just going. I wanted to finish what I was saying. Okay. Can we work with. Okay. Austin said, do you think the Colbert Report can come back? Possibly, but it's also under that merger, and I know Jon Stewart's under heavy scrutiny as well because he costs so much. I think because Jon Stewart, like, those things are getting more traction. I think he might be okay, but we'll see. I can sort of see it, but it'd be under the Skydance Viacom thing, and I don't know if they'd want to pay the salary for that. I think he'll probably end up doing something else, to be honest with you. Cheers to you, Austin. Thank you for your patience. Malcolm Rampart says Blue's Clues canceled too. Paramount's in trouble. Blue's Clues, I believe, was canceled sort of a while ago. I don't think that has to do with this, but yeah, I think that was more because even though as much acclaim as that did, kids nowadays weren't watching it. But cheers to you, man. I know it got like great reviews, and I heard it was very good, and the movie was good, was doing well, but I don't think it really. I don't think this is that situation. Anyway, cheers to you. Okay. Also, sorry, I need to say this during the Patreon part. Every time we get to $20, I'll do the flashy lights. There's my remote. I'll do the flashy lights for they'll flash and stuff. So if we get to that, if you continue to do super chats and we get to $20, I will do that. All right. We have two things, and then I'm going to talk about Superman. So, the live action My Little Pony movie at Amazon, MGM, Hasbro. 3 corporations. The this is probably not going to be live action. It's probably going to be cartoons in live action. It's sort of like that movie Dinosaur, but like not as good. I can see it. It's a huge brand. They still like my son's diapers have My Little Pony. It's like a huge thing. They're still using the friendship is magic thing. That seems to be the universal thing. Bronies or not, it seems to be the big thing there. I've heard apple clumps will be in it. I mean, how could you make uh how could you make My Little Pony without apple clumps? As an expert on it, who knows a lot about My Little Pony, I think apple clumps would have to be there. But I just don't that like I made my own OC and it's a joke OC. Anyway, for this show I barely watched. I mean it makes sense. They're really trying to exploit any brand they have. They really the thing with this announcement though, I almost don't want to really give it that much time because there's no director, there's no writer, there's nothing. They're like, we're gonna do this. I'm like, good for you. Is there a release date? Is there anything? All you have is apple clumps. You need more. You need the other ones like um Rainbow Dersh and uh the pink one. Is Saber named after one of those? Anyway, I think it'll be great. No, I think it sounds dumb, and I think like we'll see what happens, but there's not much there yet. It's like if there was like My Little Pony and it's being directed by somebody, but you know. So this was an interesting one, and then we'll talk about Rainbow Fred Durst. That's one of them. Okay. We were talking about Superman. So the Odyssey, the 70 millimeter IMAX or the IMAX on film or whatever version of the Odyssey, which comes out next year, is tickets are on sale now for next year. A lot of people have brought up that this is crazy and how hyped they are and stuff. I'm also like, I would, I mean, are you gonna forget about this? Like, how is it gonna? I don't know. I think it is a great promotion for this movie and how excited people are, and it's great publicity and it's very smart. But at the same time, like I don't know. Apparently, a couple of people brought up, you can't like it's illegal to sort of block book things, and this might run into those laws. I have a feeling they looked into that, but if they didn't, that would be hilarious. I'm also like you have the confidence that your schedule will be allow you to see this movie a year. I mean, that's like way too advanced to me. But I think it's like to show it's a smart move in a sense because now you're like, this is how hyped the Odyssey is. All these things are sold out. It's already gonna make all this money. But then like it's made all this money now and it's gonna show up in the box office a year from now. Based on that, is that how that's gonna work? It so strange. But yeah, they are doing that for only the IMAX on film screenings. There's only one theater in New York doing it, several in LA, all that stuff. Yeah, couple people. I thought this too, Emily D. What if it gets delayed? I was like, I thought that as well. Like, what if they delay it? How are they going to deal with that? I don't know. To me, it's like a great idea for publicity, but the amount of things that could go wrong with it, that is not a great time. Yes, it's by Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. We'll see. I mean, I'm sure it'll do well. But yeah. Okay. Let's talk about Superman. So, Superman opened to. I have to have multiple windows open to explain the Superman box office. So, the Superman. Did Superman do bad? Or good. That seems to be the discussion about Superman right now. That's the first thing we're going to talk about. So this is the third best opening of the year at $125 million. Is considered a pretty good opening at $125 million. But a lot of people think it'll be lucky to hit 600 million, which is sort of the number it really needs to hit. At present time, right now, it has made 261. Um, but I do not think there are certain things that um, are troubling about this movie and its box office performance. One is that, and I want to preface that a lot of conservative people have used this article to preface how Hollywood's out of touch, but it's Hollywood being out of touch with like outside of America. But it's basically like Hollywood in America has sort of lost its soft power influence. And like in the 2010s, where like China and other countries loved Hollywood movies, they're not as into them now. And additionally, because of mostly because of having concentration camps and stuff, America is not viewed as well internationally. Weird, right? And because of that, a character who is very associated with America, Superman, is not playing as well internationally. So this is considered more of a domestic play to most people at this time. We'll see how that plays out internationally next weekend. Um, but it's actually doing less in most markets than in comparison to Man of Steel. But there's a couple things that are sort of different about this, and I brought this up with F1, but more so in this. Superman has a lot of corporate tie ins. Dairy Queen has Superman on a cup, he has toys that are selling everywhere. There's all sorts of stuff like that with Superman, like all across everywhere. Like, and no one's sure what that number is. And a couple box office analysts have brought up, like when Batman '89 came out, for example, um, we knew that that made all its money back based on merch and corporate tie-ins and stuff. I notice like no one releases those numbers now, so we don't fully know. But I do think there's probably more of it paid back than we realize. I know Variety posted a thing about like how much the actors got and how much the production budget was and how much the marketing was. I noticed like they put the budget separate from James Gunn and the actors, which are like their pay is part of that budget. I don't what like it was very odd, but apparently James Gunn got like 15 million, Nicholas Holt got 2 million, and then Corn Sweat and Rachel Brosnahan had the same, about 750,000. But it's an expensive movie. No one's sure how much it is. But there is actual good news, and this if I talked about this on Monday, I'd be a little worried. However, we're actually going to go into everyone's favorite thing, the daily box office. Now, here's the thing about that. Every day, Superman's been number one ever since it opened for every day since then. And those it's making tons of money. It made 56 million the first day, Friday, Saturday 37, Sunday 31. That's fine. But when we look at Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, on Monday it made 12 million. Now, why does that matter? On the Monday, Jurassic World Rebirth, its first Monday, which was July 7th, because a Jurassic World Rebirth opened on a Wednesday. This is a day that people are going back to work. This is a non-holiday weekend. But people have off. People took vacations and stuff like that. They use that Friday off to get more time and stuff. That Jurassic World Reboot made 11 million on its first Monday, right? On Superman's first Monday, it made 12.9 million, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. Then, and I'm going through these because it makes you think. It makes you think. Wait a minute, something's up with Superman. On its second day, Jurassic World Rebirth made 15 million on that Tuesday. On Superman's Tuesday, Superman made 17 million. Right? This is far away from people having off. Actually, when I saw Superman, it was on a Monday. Theater was sold out. Right? Then on Wednesday, this is the last number reported. Right? A Jurassic World Rebirth made on its Wednesday it made 10 million. On Superman's Wednesday, it made 11 million. Now, this is far away from any holiday weekend, but what I think is happening is word of mouth is working out for it. We could, as of right now, I really do believe we're going to have a Sinners type situation where it's going to hold well the second weekend. There's no competition the second weekend. Now, how much of that drop it's going to be is the question, I guess. But I think because there's good word of mouth, people like cheered after the movie when I saw it. People are talking it up and going, like, you have to see this movie. And also, like, there's no family movies really. Like, How to Train Your Dragon has sort of run its course. Where is it on the box office? It's at number 5 right now. So that's declining. Most people have seen it. I think, there's a lot of time with Superman where like, I'm gonna be at the beach with my family next week, right? If there's a rainy day, typically everyone goes to movies. There's lots of people who are in these beach towns and stuff, and then the theater like packs up. What are you gonna see right now? If you have kids, you're gonna go see Superman. Superman is gonna take care of the family audience. It has great word of mouth. People are like, "Oh, have you seen Superman?" I also think this is gonna play well. No, Smurfs is gonna fucking bomb. I don't see Smurfs doing well. I also think it has a similar release to Spider-Man: Homecoming, which did well in its first couple weeks, but it was able to do even better because it stayed in the box office because there's no major competition. This and Fantastic Four are going to play that game as well, so we'll see how it does. But I do not think the story of Superman's box office is over right now based on these numbers. Because when I noticed the box office day thing, I was like, wait a second. Jurassic World is like an established brand and all that stuff. But the other box office things is Lilo and Stitch has now crossed $1 billion worldwide, which is depressing. Um, so there's that. Um, yeah, which I don't love that. Jurassic World Rebirth has already gotten to over $500 million, which because it's also doing much better internationally. It's doing better internationally than domestically, which is not the case for Superman. It's doing much better domestically. So we'll see, but I think we could see it. Oh, also, Elio outgrossed Onward, the Pixar movie that got pulled from theaters because of COVID. So it finally did that. That's good. Anyway, anyway, um, so what's going on with the DC thing? I do think we don't really know what the future is. Supergirl's next year. I've heard the talk of they're fast tracking a Wonder Woman. I don't know, and the whole thing with Clayface. What I think, yeah, sorry, what I think is probably going to happen with all of this is they'll continue to make these, but I do think they're going to have to figure out how to get these to play internationally if they want them to be as expensive as they are. There's just no way around that. I don't think Supergirl will do this well. Supergirl's not the brand that Superman is. But we haven't seen anything from that, so we'll see. But I am curious how they're going to do this. The idea that he keeps saying he won't answer the sequel thing, do not do a team up next. Please just give us a Superman sequel. Like, I didn't love Man of Steel, but I thought it was real dumb that they didn't do Man of Steel 2 first. They did Batman v Superman. Don't try to fast track the DC thing. Do it the right way. This is just not the right way to do it if you're going to do that. But we'll see what's going on. People have suggested if this doesn't do as well overall, will Batman 2 move up? Will they change stuff with Clayface? I don't think that is really going to happen. I think they're probably waiting and see. And this is a release date that you wait until the end of August to claim your victory, ultimately. Like the end gross that we're going to see at the end of the year is going to look higher than we probably thought because, you're really competing with Fantastic Four and Bad Guys 2. And you can still just like coast until when's a major movie. Like, I don't think there's a lot of major movies in September, August after uh, Bad Guys 2. So I do think it's kind of work out, despite me maybe liking the movie and stuff. But we'll see what's going on. People are saying like, will there be the Batman thing? Like, will we have two separate Batmans? I don't. There's really no movement on that. It's just sort of people inventing shit. We do know the fast tracking Superman thing. We'll see about these other DC movies and how they're going to do it and how successful that is. I think that's more of a question mark. But also, it's a question mark because we don't know anything. We haven't seen anything. So I think Superman will do fine, but it's a different financial picture than the weekend. Jurassic World Rebirth did well on the weekend. That's why I was bringing up that Superman is doing better than it overall. But the fact that, internationally it's mainly domestic, I think and it's playing better than Sinners. I could see it. If it plays well these 2 weeks, it could really work out overall. And especially if it has good word of mouth. And people are still on vacation in July and August. They need stuff to do. Grandma likes to take the kids to the movies when it rains and stuff. There's still a lot of opportunities for it to do well. So I do think that. As for the future of the DCU, I don't. I think it's premature to to act like anyone knows anything at this point because they don't. But I think if I was them, I would just like announce a Superman 2. I would not announce a world's finest. Do not team up with Batman. That's a bad idea. You did that already. Did that work out? I don't think so. So, all right. In other DC news, hold on. This chair is like, ugh. Hold on. Ugh. Let me get. Sorry, I actually put a pillow. This chair is like not. I need a more comfortable. Oh, that actually feels a little better. Okay. Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. Who is the biggest DC character? I mean, I think like if Crypto is in it, Supergirl, $1 billion. No, I don't. I am curious to see. Like, I do think part of the problem with Superman is people are like, well, it doesn't do well with Man of Steel. But the last thing the audience saw was Man of Steel, and I do believe in the theory that a superhero movie, a franchise does as well as the last movie did. It's a reflection on how people felt about the last movie, and I do think like maybe that fucked with it a little. But I think they have to raise the perception up, and then in the next Superman movie, it would do better because people like this one. So it's also like a movie that's positive, and people are like, "Hey, you should go see this. It's fun." Is really going to matter in the summer. Like it's probably one of the better made summer blockbusters. So I think that's going to go a long way, and it's going to help overall and stuff like that. So we'll see. I think it'll be fine, but I think it's going to be a longer thing, and I do think people are too critical of opening weekends, and that's really not how a lot of movies their performances and stuff like that. Although I would say if you want to encourage that, maybe not have all your promotion be for the opening weekend, maybe spread it out a little more, but whatever. Also, make a Wonder Woman cartoon show. Why does that never happen? It's the weirdest. Anyway, in another DC story, was that the Black Superman script that was written by Ta-Nehisi Coates, which we talked about a while ago. Hey, what's up, Will? Supposedly, and J.J. Abrams was going to produce, and they did nothing with Abrams, and except for that show, The Duster. Man, J.J. Abrams. Talk about a fall off. If only he had a mystery box, which would have helped him figure it out. But well, it didn't because he's not good at endings. But anyway, this script was bandied about for a while. We didn't actually know what happened to the script, but supposedly David Zaslav said it was too woke. I don't know. To be honest, I found it interesting that everyone's like, it could still happen, and James Gunn's considering it and stuff. I'm like, so like, we're all like, there can't be two Batmans. That'll be confusing. And they're like, but two Supermans, that's fine. I'm like, I just don't see two Supermans really working. Like, it has nothing to do with the script and everything. I think it's like they were doing this, and then they were decided to reboot it, and it was sort of this awkward project that no one knew what to do with because Abrams they had like big names attached. But if I was them, I was like, look, you paid a lot for this script, make him do a comic or something. He's a big author. I'm sure it'll sell well. Like, make some money off this thing. I would just like to know what it is. I don't want to hear Bullets and Blockbusters summarize it for me. I mean, I will watch that video, but I don't want that to be its future. I will definitely watch that video. I like their Star Wars one was good. Anyway, although I don't love their AI kind of thumbnails. I'm not loving people have been doing that more and more. But we'll see if that happens anytime soon. All right. This is the trailer section. There's a lot of trailers. So we'll do trailers, and there's a lot of them. So I know I didn't talk about it last week. I know everyone's excited. Everyone calm down. I will talk about the Red Sonja trailer. Chat, calm down. Stop posting Red Sonja forever in the chat, please. This movie doesn't look good. I know what's her name? Gail Simone. Apparently various comic creators helped write on it. It doesn't look good. I have no nostalgia for Red Sonja. I never saw that movie. Maybe I'll review it when this one comes out. I just don't get to me it's like if you're going to do some of these Conan fantasy things, you really got to come up with like a really good take or it's just not really going to work. And I know Bryan Singer was attached. I don't think he directed this, but to me it just didn't really stand out at all. It just sort of looks like a junky maybe, and not in a fun way. It just looks like in a I'm not gonna like it way. In other trailers, Sonya Sweep, thanks, Albert. The Stranger Things trailer came out. I probably even talked about it in the show that Linda Hamilton was in it. Maybe I did. I was like, cool, Linda Hamilton's in this. I love it. It looks fun. My honest thing with Stranger Things is like when it's on, I like when it comes out, I watch it and I'm super into it, and then when it's not on, I never think about it. So I'm like, I just don't think about it at all. I wouldn't mind watching it, rewatching the others before this, but it looked fun. Linda Hamilton's in it. That's my takeaway. It looks like they're on a big adventure. I am a little like it's been probably too long, but I'm sure I'll get into it and watch it on Thanksgiving and watch it on Christmas and watch it on New Year's. I'll probably do all that. It's been a nice show. It's been fun. I'm curious what the Duffer Brothers do next. I would have had them do X-Men. I'm just saying. I think that would have been the best. No one said that but me, but I think he would have been good. Kevin James is Gorilla Grodd. If he could do that Obama scene, then he can have the role. There was a trailer for After the Hunt. This is a film from Luca Guadagnino with an insane cast: Julie Roberts, Iowa Debris, Andrew Garfield. I feel like someone else I forgot. Um, she looks really good with some heavy hitters. Andrew Garfield looks great. It's nice seeing Julie Roberts in something. Looks like one of those movies people are like, wow, they used to make movies for adults, and then none of them will fucking see it. So, good for them. But I had um it looks fun. I liked I think everybody liked Challengers, and I'm starting to warm to him. He's not been my favorite. Not I didn't hate him, but okay. Next up, sorry. I'm really like just going through trailers. But the next two I think will be the ones you guys care about. The Hoppers trailer is from the creator of We Bare Bears with Pixar. I really got to say, and I know I tweeted this, like, I have no clue why Pixar wasn't, like, just buying up Cartoon Network creators. If I was in charge of Pixar, I'd be like, Genndy, I'd be like, man, that fixed movie would look even better in the Pixar style, bro. Uh, sorry. What's his name? Shit. Guy who did Wonder Over Yonder. And, oh, Will's here. Hello. I'm about to get to that, but the reaction to the Fix trailer is wild. So much bad faith and ignorant. It's a genuine triumph that Fix escaped being a tax write-up, and especially after his laborious development and production. I like your thinking, dude. Thank you. Yes, cheers to you, Will. I'm with you on that. I also like movies that are gross. So, but no, it's cool. I'm also like, let's wait for the movie. But cheers to you, Will. Should I have saved that for when I talk about Fix right after the show? I did. Also, I believe that takes us past the $20 mark. So, Craig McCracken, thank you. I'm stupid. All right. Are we doing? Are we? Okay. Get the flashing lights because we passed 20. All right. Uh, yeah, I actually do like the Hoppers trailer. I thought it was fun, particularly a thing at the end with the bear and that was really funny. I like that they're like, so it's like Avatar thing. But no, seriously, like I think the Cartoon Network creators are really smart. Pixar doesn't know what to do with its new outdoors. I think this is a great mixture of the two. I think he could work really well and bring some life into it. It was a funny trailer. I'm fucking down for this. Like I thought it looked fun. I know they apparently pared down the environmentalism of it. I don't know how you make this movie without there being some environmental in it. It was David. Hold on, I will tell you. Will I should know that, shouldn't I? Daniel Chung, who created We Bare Bears, right? Right? He created, We Bare Bears, and he wrote the movie, and now he's back 6 years later with Hoppers, which is really cool. My sister bought my snacks, so here you go, Jim. Oh, hey, cheers to your sister. I hope were they good snacks, Rat Boy Mickey? I want to know. Cheers to you. All right, Zodberg, thank you for telling me about fade mode. You didn't know the light thing. All right, so let's talk about Fix because that seems to be. So we've been hearing about Genndy's Fix for a long time. We've talked about it on the show, and we finally got a full trailer, and everyone was disgusted as fuck at this movie. Genndy is a genius. He is probably one of the real auteurs of animation. We are used to Lunchables and an ice energy drink. Damn, you're living, son. Sorry. um, I think he sort of likes to do what he wants to fucking do. What was that Unicorn Warriors Eternal show? I mean, that's like an animation dork show of like a guy who liked Pirates of Dark Water. But I think most people just want Primal and Samurai Jack and stuff like that. And he's amazing at that, and he still is doing another season of Primal. He's still doing that, but he wanted to make his gross comedy thing where this dog is humping grandma's leg and doing all this gross stuff. I want to be honest. Like, look, I was obsessed with the early gross John Waters movies in middle school. So this kind of stuff is right up my alley. I am here for it. I love that everyone is disgusted. I'm generally like, you all have to watch this shit, and you hate it. I love it, Genndy. You did it, bro. Like all these directors are like, "This is my magnum opus." No, no, it's way funnier when everyone's like, "Oh fuck, I have to watch this shit." Like that's amazing, Genndy. Thank you. This is what we need. I don't want to see masterpieces. I want to watch. I want to watch all these YouTubers get disgusted. It's really funny. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but like none of you watch uncomfortable shit. That was like most of what I did. Have you ever seen Sweet Movie? Look it up. It's yeah. Look, I'm just so many. There's so many buttholes and like balls jokes and like look. I am here. I am here for. Apparently, it's not all like that, which that is disappointing to me. I think I wanted the movie to be worse than what we could have ever imagined in this trailer. I wanted it to be so bad that people are like throwing up while they're watching, which I'm here for. I'm here for it, dude. We need to. I know people when they say they want to disrupt something, they mean some dumb like tech bro thing, but I want to disrupt every. Sorry, it's not funny, but it is like insanely funny to me that everyone's like, this movie makes me uncomfortable. I don't like it. I'm fine with it. It makes me uncomfortable. Also, dogs are gross. Like animals are gross. Like did no one figure this out? Like I like the most animal movies are like, oh, it's these animals are really nice and stuff, but this movie's like, no, I'm let's go for it. Let's go for it. I will say animation people are not ready for for the uncomfortable, weird, gross movie. And you know what? Y'all have had it too easy for too long. Let's let's do this. Um, I think it looks fun. I like that it's a different thing. I respect that he's doing this, but I think there's probably more to it. But I do like that the trailer was so off-putting. So I didn't think it was that bad. I was surprised, but I just think it's funny that like when I saw, I was like, man, he definitely has talent because like everybody who posted that they're grossed out by it is watching it first day because they have to make Genndy, I love it. Make more gross shit. Make a movie that they all like and then be like, sorry. It just makes me laugh because I love it when people are like, get it, like, I mean, that movie made me uncomfortable. I'm like, yeah, I mean, art does that sometimes, dude. Like, that's. Anyway, if Netflix is funding stuff that like makes people throw up, I'm all for it. I know there's probably more to it, but I just find it hilarious um, that people were as upset as they were by it. But it's like we don't get 2D stuff this kind of sport. I would like to see it in a movie theater. And I know people are like, "Oh, it's just a shitty Fritz the Cat," but I'm like, "Come on!" Like, not all of Bakshi stuff is bad. Um, Honestly, like I do think like people are, I I do think like maybe this brings up a real thing about this is that animation people don't have to see uncomfortable movies and they're having to deal with this, and that's probably not going to get the best reviews, especially with American animation. I think like Japanese animation does that a lot more. But I think we need to, I think it is a good thing ultimately if this movie exists. Because Sausage Party was like suburban gross. This is like uncomfortable gross, and I'm down for it. So, oh hey Sinram, I don't know if I saw you earlier. I don't know what the numbers thing mean, man. I don't get it. I didn't put it there. It's a YouTube thing. Whatever. Anyway, I'm gonna say I love it. I love it. I'm down for it. I thought it was a fun trailer. The voice cast seems fun. It looked weird. I'm all for it. I actually think Hoppers and Fix made me feel, and Bad Guys too. All this stuff. I'm like, you know what? I think it's gonna be. It's we're getting some good animated movies, and I think that was a very cool idea. I'm down for it. So, but like seriously, yeah, I'm with you on Heavy Traffic and American Pop. I know people don't like Fritz the Cat because they have to sort of deal with it, but like he really like went for it. Like nobody was doing that stuff. Like he became a big animation name auteur when no one was doing that. So um I've always respected Bakshi. I don't love all of his movies, but I've always respected him. I think like what he did and like the barriers he broke down, I think I will give him that respect because I mean he's the reason we have auteurism in animation television. Like that he was, Mighty Mouse New Adventures did do that. I mean, he also like embraced John Kay, but he also like criticized him more than anybody before like the allegations. Like I saw Ralph Bakshi would always shit on John Kay and how unprofessional he was, like publicly while still being friends with him. Which I was like, Bakshi. I mean, I don't know. Anyway, whatever. I would say no, that's I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry, I don't know what that means. Cineram. Uh, anyway, I was happy with this trailer to be honest. I know it upsets people, but like sometimes you need to be upset. You need to shake things up. You should honestly. This goes in my whole thing. I think you want to talk about art and your like cinematic palette. You need to fuck with your cinematic palette, or your palette will mean, or your taste in movies sort of means nothing. If you just see the same stuff all the time and don't mess with it in any way, then your taste will kind of not be as interesting. I'm telling you this right now. Like when you're young, like see as many weird things as you can. It will. People are always like this mess with my brain chemistry. So they saw some A24 things. I saw all those John Waters things when I was like before high school, and it definitely like messed with my brain in cool ways. You know what I mean? So just like mess with your tastes is what I'm saying. Don't be. I know like people, your parents might say like only watch things that are comfortable and the passivity of television and watching things, but in all seriousness, like mess with your taste. See something that would make you uncomfortable. It will make you think about stuff in ways you haven't. Sometimes I avoid newer stuff with that, but I try to watch stuff that will fuck with my shit more often than not because it really does uh, help your brain. I'm telling you right now. Don't just watch the same thing. You talk to people who just watch the same thing. They don't have as many ideas as the people who mess with their tastes and expectations. It really does help you. I'm not. I know I was laughing and stuff, but like ultimately, like do not get too set in your ways, or your tastes will not evolve. Anyway, Alien Earth. Sorry, Alien Earth. This is a cool concept. I will say. Um, uh, um, it's basically like if the aliens were on Earth instead of just in space and stuff. It seems like a cool farm from Noah Hawley. Uh, it looks like a pretty cool. Sorry. It looks like a cool concept. The trailer looked awesome. I'm excited to see it. Just seeing that alien like in like the rainforest or the woods was a really compelling shot. They weren't showing us too much of the alien thing. They're just trying to see them. Joker Man, you know what I'm saying with the Holy Mountain thing. It looked really cool. I'm excited for that to be honest with you. Will said, "Oh come on, YouTube." Sorry, it made me reload it. I was about to read. Sorry, Will. Will said, "Here, Jim. Sound advice for film fans. You experience a lot of cool things that way." I know. Will does that because I see when you watch it, and Will definitely messes with his expectations. I will say, that. Cheers to you, man. All right. The Mortal Kombat 2 trailers. This is a great start for any movie. Um, I really thought they did a good job. The Johnny Cage trailer first, which set up the second trailer. Smart marketing right there. Um, I liked like I don't love the jokey 80s stuff because I often feel like people who like that stuff don't actually watch the movies these jokey 80s things are making fun of, and I find that to be bizarre. But I thought it was a funny idea, it was a smart idea. Um, they did a good job with it. I should probably stop this, but we are close to 40. When we get to 40, we'll do it again. But it was a good campaign. To be honest with you, before the second trailer, I was like, I'm actually more excited to because every Mortal Kombat movie I was going to review a different one of the other Mortal Kombat movies. I was like, I'm kind of excited to finally see the second Mortal Kombat movie from the 90s or whatever. But I'm kind of into this the idea of like Johnny Cage meeting them. It's just Enter the Dragon. They're all Enter the Dragon. I get it. Enter the Dragon rules, but like whatever. But it looked like a fun riff on that. But it also sort of looked like when you bring up the big. I was almost Embla T. You beat me to it. It looked like almost like a kind of interesting Big Trouble in China riff, but it looked like they don't fully go into it because Johnny Cage is going to be like cool and stuff. But it is interesting to have the one guy who's like, "What the hell is this? How do I explain this stuff?" So I don't know. It looked fun. I don't know how many people are going to see this, but I think they really need to accentuate the difference in this and how different Johnny Cage is from everybody else, if that's what it is. But that seems the way what it is. It seems they're heavily marketing on Johnny Cage and Carl Urban as him. It looks like it could be fun, or it could just be dumb. I'm down for either. We also there's two more trailers, guys. We'll get through this. Don't worry. Um, Tron Ares. I think this is probably the best looking trailer we've had. It sort of explains it better that this guy, I forget who the tech guy is, made these robots, and these robots are basically Jared Leto, who despite the fact that he can get to Mars so easily, is um, is the robot in this stuff, and then the girl from oh hey William Wellman, how's it going? I'm curious about Eddington. I am going to see that eventually. I don't know when because I'm going away and stuff, but I will see that soon. I'm curious if that was worth it, man. Let me know later or now. It's cool. I do like the soundtrack with Nine Inch Nails. I saw the. I will say this. I not a big Tron. I don't like any of them that much, but I did. I will say I saw Tron Legacy in the IMAX, and although I wasn't so in love with it, the soundtrack with those kind of speakers was really amazing, and I am actually excited to see this with a Nine Inch Nails score. But it looks fun. The idea of like the Tron world in the real world, I think, is a natural evolution for this franchise, and it's something they should do and stuff. I don't know if like I know Disney does actually have rides internationally, and it's actually a bigger deal ride wise internationally, my understanding. But I was always surprised they didn't. This wasn't a Disney Plus play because Tron has never done that well in theaters, like never ever. So I just like I'm a little surprised they're investing so much money in this. I hope they financially did it right, but Morbius playing like a robot thing. It was a cool thing, you know, Jeff Bridges shows up and stuff, and I don't know. Maybe I don't know if I my review of oh okay, thank you for letting me know that, William. Some of the Tron air I don't know. I'm curious. I'm a little curious, but maybe I'll review the original Tron. I don't know if that review was in the rough cuts or I ever put out the review I did of it, but yeah, I am surprised Hollywood is not giving up Jared Leto. It's not like he's making them like no one's like, oh, Jared Leto's in Tron Ares. It's sort of like a very strange like why do you keep this guy around? You know what I mean? But it was missing the first episode on the Tron cartoon. That's weird. But anyway, yeah, I didn't see Garrett Hedlund in the trailers. I don't know if he's gonna Garrett Hedlund. Anyway, the Flynn's son from Legacy. I don't know if this has a Legacy connection, but it's like I don't think Tron's as relevant as it was when Legacy came out. Tron was brought up more. Um, oh, okay. Thank you, Will. Apparently, it was originally a Disney Plus thing. I would have done the Disney Plus thing, but you want me to review Tron the next day? Sure. Okay, I'll check that out around the. Remind me, Zodberg, around when Tron Ares comes out. But I don't know. It's gonna be. I'm curious. All right, we should move along because it's getting late. There was the Gumball trailer. It looked like a fun trailer. It looked like Gumball. I like Gumball for all its weirdness. Maybe when this comes out, I'll review my favorite episode where it deconstructs. It's the animation deconstructs itself. It's like, I think like the perfect cartoon to explain the literary theory of deconstruction. Like I was like, I actually recommended it to some English teachers a long time ago, where I worked, and they all liked that episode. They're like, "Holy crap, Gumball's really good!" And I was like, "Yeah, man, I'm telling you." So I really love that episode, and I love Gumball because it's so weird and surreal, but also like very good at being like a relatable sitcom. It's like really Gumball deserves a lot of credit for how unique and different it is, and I'm excited for another version of it. Frankly, I'm excited for it to come back, and I like that bo joke. All right, we are now going to talk about how much stuff. Jeez, there's a lot of stuff I want to talk about. That's the problem. Is this isn't like Oh man, we're definitely running late. I'm just telling you now. All right. So the Emmy nominations. We're just going to go through this first, but I want to bring up some stuff that were kind of interesting, and then we'll move on. Common Side Effects got a Best Animated Show, whatever nomination. That's amazing. I don't bring up that I think The Simpsons should not be nominated anymore. I do not understand why. I don't know why it keeps getting Emmy noms. I think it is bad for animation in general. There's a certain point where you need to step down from something. And like maybe like if I was them, I would say, you know what, enough. Like, what is it promoting the show? Like, Common Side Effects needs this nomination. Does The Simpsons? No, but whatever. Congratulations to Common Side Effects. I would have put Smiling Friends. I don't care if it was eligible or not. I was rewatching season two. I was like, I really like Smiling Friends. That is my sort of alone show, just chilling out. Like that episode where he gets the paper clips is like honestly insane. Anyway, snubs. There was people didn't like that Andor didn't get very many nominations actor wise. I would agree with that. Squid Games 2 got shut out, but I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't even watch that. I know people didn't like it, but it is surprising considering the first season got so many nominations, succeeded, that it didn't do as well. I actually wrote down the Seth Meyers thing because people were surprised because he very much campaigned to be nominated. In my mind, Seth Meyers is the best late night show. It's very good. I do really, really like that show, and if you're up late, I recommend it. And the other thing, and I'll get to you after this, Will, sorry. Um, Rebel Ridge, which I reviewed, apparently got a TV nomination as well as the Bridget Jones movie, which I didn't see. So apparently, I learned this Emmy rule because of what happened with OJ Made in America, because it won an Emmy and an Oscar, and that upset everybody because awards mean something or some dumb shit. You can campaign for an Oscar, but if you do not get a nomination as a movie, you can then campaign for an Emmy and get an Emmy nomination. I learned this because I also noticed because I uh, saw the Netflix theater was playing Rebel Ridge recently. I'm like, that's weird. That movie came out like in the fall. Why would you be playing it? Obviously for Emmy consideration. So apparently, like that's the rule, which is a dumb rule, but is a real rule. So Rebel Ridge, congrats on your Emmy nomination. But apparently Netflix can just be like, I guess that didn't work, so we'll do the other one. That's like seriously allowed. That makes no fucking sense to me. But apparently, like the one was the Will Ferrell documentary about him and his friend. I believe that's the one. Got a ton of Emmy nominations because they tried for Oscars and it failed, and then they ended up having. But how much money are you spending on campaigning for awards? Like that just seems ridiculous. But whatever. No, I know Bridget Jones played in other theater in other countries, but not in America. And apparently Renee Zellweger was trying to get a Emmy nomination for acting and spent a lot of time on it. And then yeah, no, I know the Simpsons rant. That's why I just did it here. I'm like Twitter and Blue Sky don't need this anymore. I should just retweet my old ones. All right, Will says shout out to Tron Uprising, the animated series from 2013. Cool series, even if you don't care for the films. Okay, maybe you're right. Okay, what are you doing to me? YouTube. I want to like this. Sorry. If you don't care for the film, still not cool with Aries because Disney can Kaczynski's original sequel, The Legacy. I think Kaczynski wouldn't come back at this point because he has too much between F1 and Top Gun Maverick. He sort of can do what he wants, but I am surprised. Like if he wanted to come back, I bet he could. Maybe they asked him. I wonder if they asked him. That's actually a good thing to wonder because of. I bet because of Top Gun Maverick, if he wanted to, he probably could have. But they did cancel it before he was Mr. Cool Guy making huge movies. So, cheers to you, Will. All right. I think we're past another. Um, oh, Super Christopher Reeves got Emmy noms. What? I don't. Wait, Black Hole got canceled because of Interstellar. I didn't. I don't know if that's true. I think it just got canceled because Black Hole's like not. I don't know. That was a pre-Marvel. I think that was a they bought Marvel and they're like, oh, I don't need the Black Hole remake. Where are we? Why is this not? Okay, you need to be sorry. The sensor's like over here. People don't talk about when your sensor gets. All right, sorry. People don't talk about remote sensors enough nowadays. All right, moving on from the Emmys. We did find out that they did close the deal. There is going to be a Barbie animated movie from Illumination and Mattel. Um, this has been 2 years. They've finally set this deal 2 years after the release of Barbie, which seems to take a while. But as I've told you before, a lot of these companies like Mattel, Hasbro, Nintendo want to do it their own way, and the studios just have to deal with it. And that is why these kind of deals are happening the way they are. It'll be the first and it'll be the first in theaters. It's for Universal, Illumination, and Mattel, which is interesting because the Barbie movie was not Universal. That was Warner Brothers. So, um, we'll see. We don't know. I don't think there's anyone announced directing or even a studio, but they're going to do it. It just says Chris Meledandri's animation powerhouse, and that the next movies are Super Mario Brothers, April 3rd, 2026, and then Minions 3, July 1st, 2026. So probably in a while, but it makes sense they're doing it. I don't think the Barbie sequel, which has not been announced in any fashion, is really happening, but there's a real chance this could happen before. So this is actually sort of related. So supposedly, and this sort of went definitely falls through the cracks. So why the Transformers thing I talked about a couple of weeks ago? Why is Michael Bay coming back to Transformers? Supposedly, they need to get a Transformers movie going because they will lose the rights if a Transformers movie doesn't start production by 2029. Hasbro gets the rights back, and apparently they want to get the rights back because they want to be more in control of it than Paramount. But since Paramount is obviously going through a merger and needs all their franchises, they don't want to do that. So that's why they want Josh Cooley to direct another one, and they want Michael Bay involved. Supposedly, he's sort of a Feige, but it sounds like it's more of just like he shows up one day a week and looks at designs and goes, yes, yes, no, no, I'm out, bye. But he has not been attached to director. But it is interesting to note that we will probably get another Transformers movie before 2029 because they legally have to, or they will lose the rights. And I sort of think that'll happen. If I were them, I would wait a few years to give more people to breathe on the Transformers thing. But that is why Bay's involved because they are threatened and they will lose the rights. If they do not make one, that gives them extra reasons. A quick Disney thing is apparently Lucasfilm has admitted that there is no active development on Indiana Jones. Supposedly they knew this before the last one came out. They're just like, look, we're kind of giving this to rest for a while. As much as Lucasfilm likes to play like they do things that aren't Star Wars, they don't. And there is no Obi-Wan season 2 in development at this time. I don't know what Obi-Wan season 2 would be. It's a cool idea until you think like, what is he going to fight Darth Vader again, making the whole New Hope thing stupid? Like, just leave it alone. In other Disney things, supposedly Disney was reportedly set to release a new original animated film in 2024 centered on a Parisian princess. We don't really know much beyond that, who the director was, what was that going to do, all that stuff. It sounds like a cool idea in a very broad strokes because, like, if it had been like a Parisian princess from this director, but instead you're just like, oh, a princess from I don't know. So man, we are definitely running. Sorry. Okay. Let me just run through these few things, and then we'll do the Paramount thing. Then break. Then Fantastic Four question. You know how it goes. You know how we do. Sorry. The Robert Eggers werewolf thing, which is the first thing he's working on right now. Not A Christmas Carol. Not Labyrinth. This is his first thing. Is going to have Aaron Taylor Johnson as the werewolf and Lily Rose Depp back again. I'm not Aaron Taylor Johnson. I don't really like as much. I mean, he was better in 28 Years Later, I guess, but he's never been somebody who I'm like excited about. I actually really like Lily Rose Depp in Nosferatu, and of course, you know Yoga Hosers. She was amazing in that. So, no, I never saw Yoga Hosers, but I like that she. No, she was really good in Nosferatu. So I would. To me, it would make sense. I guess that's her new star since Anna Taylor Joy is doing other. I don't know what she's doing, but anyway. Um, and we find out that Willem Dafoe, of course, is coming back. So it sounds cool. I'm down for a werewolf movie from him. Sounds like a cool idea. In other weird proper news, there's going to be a Judge Dredd movie written by Drew Pearce and directed by Taika Waititi. Supposedly, he's a big fan of this. I, I mean, look, Dredd was kind of perfect. Are you going to do better than Dredd? I seriously doubt it. If I was them, I would be intimidated trying to do a Judge Dredd movie. I think the you basically just have to clear the Stallone one, but like I don't think Taika Waititi has the sauce to do better than Dredd. I just don't see that. So, and before we talk about the Paramount thing, I did hear about the Harry Potter school thing. They made a school so kids can go to school for 10 years while shooting the show. It sounds really depressing and Dickensian, and I'm sort of hoping the show fails at this point. Like hearing about the school they made for these kids, that they're just not gonna have a break, and it's like, this sounds horrible. There's the more I hear about the show, the more I'm like, please do not make the show. Like this is not a good idea. Like, and at best, the show, like if you know the Harry Potter stuff, like the first two books are pretty accurate in the first two movies. It's only to the third book that you be different. So you really have to succeed for two seasons. Like that just this sounds like such a bad idea. Anyway, the last thing is Cartoon Network Global panel at San Diego Comic Con. There's a lot of questions about this, as various people who've made shorts and stuff weren't aware of it. So I have heard San Diego Comic Con is kind of scrambling because they were really hoping DC and Marvel and stuff would change their minds. They didn't, and this sounds like a rush job, which is sort of what they're doing. Okay, let's. I'm going to let's stop the lights for now. But if we get to another 20 multiple, oh, Captain Planet. Did I skip over Captain Planet? Where did Captain Planet go? Thank you for mentioning it. Okay, we'll do Captain Planet. Where's Captain Planet? Where did Captain Planet go? That's weird. Anyway, sorry. So there is going to be a Captain Planet show. Hold on. Why did it not? I definitely sorry. At one point it was it was on here. So Captain Planet is going to be from Greg Berlanti. This is going to be for Netflix. Supposedly, I learned that Glenn Powell was like attached to this for a very long time and was actually trying to not give up doing a live action movie. Apparently, he has moved on, but he was very determined about it. I didn't know Leonardo DiCaprio, who's very pro environment through his Appian Way production company, is still involved. But yeah, it's supposed to be a live action thing, show, series based on the animated show. Sounds like it could be interesting. Sounds like a good fit for Netflix. We don't know much, but I was like, I forgot about that Glenn Powell like stayed with this project for Paramount Pictures for a long time, and he co-wrote a script and everything like that, but it never worked out. But I was like, man, Glenn Powell was like hardcore about it. Good for him though. I think that's actually kind of cool that he was like, I want to get this to work, and it didn't work out. I don't know if Don Cheadle will be involved. I just want to bring up the Glenn Powell thing. I'm like, hey, it sounds like you really tried to. All right, I'll do this Will's super chat, and then we'll talk about. I'll explain the South Park thing. Man, we are sorry. Hope Will says hopefully Rob Eggers the knight gets resurrected someday. That legitimately sounded beyond badass. Sucker for medieval fantasy. Werewolf sounds cool though. I forgot about the knight. Cheers to you, especially after the Northman. You think because that did well on demand and stuff, but maybe studios aren't as into that. Anyway, thank you for your generosity. Thank you for super chat, man. And I believe we're not quite at the other. When we are, we'll do the thing. All right. So the South Park Paramount thing, and this will explain a lot of this stuff. So, basically, the story of this starts with the fact that Trey Parker and Matt Stone got 50% of the digital rights to South Park way back in the 2000s, right before streaming took off. Because of that, they have a vested interest in selling rights, streaming rights, because they make a lot of money. So, like when they signed a $500 million deal with HBO Max, they got half of that $500 million. Trey Parker and Matt Stone are very wealthy, basically. They wanted to sign a new deal with both Paramount Plus and HBO Max, both for $1 billion. So it'd be about $2 billion, meaning they would take home $1 billion, not taxes and all that, but they would be a lot. It would be for 10 years of South Park rights. They also, because they wanted to sign these two deals, wanted to extend their overall deal with Paramount, which will end in 2027. and they want to extend that further to at least 7 years to help this deal along, because people are like, well, I don't want to spend $1 billion if your deal runs out in 2 years. But this is all being held up by the Ellisons, who are trying to buy, um, or are merging Skydance and Paramount. They even held up the deal with Warner Brothers by calling them, and so Trey Parker and Matt Stone are then going to stop this. Now, the Ellisons have been looking at other things and have been looking at the finances of a lot of shows. What happened with Colbert is actually not unique at all. They did hold up Yellow Jackets a while to look at the finances and try to figure out a cheaper way to do things. They're looking at a lot of the deals of this stuff. Now, you could think, what is the problem with South Park? South Park actually is still doing very well. I actually did try to look into that. And supposedly, specifically with a younger demo, which is good for a really old animated show, it does extremely well. So you want to keep that library expanding. The problem is they're basically going to be getting like $100 million a year or something from uh, from these deals and whatever, and a lot of money, and they're only making about 10 episodes. Supposedly, the Ellisons want them to maybe make 15 to 20 because they don't understand what's they don't fully. They want to get more bang for their buck because they're making a lot of money per episode. Now, is it working out? Actually, it is. That's why I wasn't, was talking about the thing with Colbert, that the finances don't really work. The finances actually do work. You do actually run into this thing with older entertainment people where they want a huge payout despite the fact that the audience isn't there anymore. Look at what happened with U2 and Apple. That was totally what that deal was. Malcolm Rampart says, don't know if you heard about the South Park episodes missing from Paramount Plus, but Giant Chuchel's made a video about it. I do know about that. I'll say that was more an international thing, but that is also because their deal with Paramount ended, and their deals are ending, and that's why they wanted to sign new deals. But basically, these deals are ending, and they want to figure out and renegotiate new deals. So that's why it left. I think it was only international, but I didn't check Paramount Plus to see what's still there. Cheers to you, Malcolm Rampart. I appreciate the super chat. What I think is going to happen is, one, you cannot not have South Park. It is one of their biggest franchises. We're talking about a $2 billion deal here. This is something that prints money. But the problem with an overall deal with these guys is you are only. Oh, I don't think that's pretty much why. Uh, what I think is going on with this is, like, you have to get it to work. Problem is, they want to wait till the merger happens, and they're kind of pissed off because they want a streaming home before they just start premiering episodes, and they're not letting them do that. I think that's a stupid idea. Just like let them do it. Supposedly they want a shorter deal. They don't want to do 10 years. They want to do 5 years for less money. So they have options after the 5 years. I think also a lot of entertainment people are saying that how can South Park still be this popular? To be honest, it is a little surprising, especially that it's big with like younger, like people in high school age and stuff. I was a little surprised to find out that. So I think a lot of people are like I mentioned, the U2 Apple, when they had that album that showed up everywhere, it feels like something like that, but the numbers don't say that, basically. It's not two creators making a huge deal at the end to like get their last payout. It's people who are making a show that makes you tons in merch, gets you more signups, is the main thing people are watching on your service. Supposedly the deal with why they want HBO Max is because they want to keep the show's relevance and keep the brand going, because Paramount Plus isn't big enough for that at this point. But they also want to help Paramount Plus out and sign deals there. So it seems like they're actually doing smart deals. It's just the Ellisons and Paramount are being stupid about it. And if you lose South Park, that's really going to destroy your studio. I mean, it's really devaluing a huge brand, which would be an epically stupid thing to do. Especially, they also have that movie with Kendrick Lamar. If they ever wanted to make a Book of Mormon movie, which I think the time on that has passed, but they would probably go to Paramount. Like, they really need to. If I was them, I would figure this deal out, because it has gone on too far. They're getting a huge negotiator. They're really fighting with them. But Train, Parker, and Matt Stone are very good at figuring these things out. But also, it's like, they are essentially the show. And I think the thing with like any of these creators, like Matt Groening, like just collects a check. Seth MacFarlane isn't that involved, but is still doing his own thing. These guys have been with this show this whole time. It's real. Their auteurism all throughout it, and you really cannot do the show without them. It is just not going to work, and they have to figure out a deal with them. But that's why I was not surprised by the Colbert thing, because they're really analyzing everything. And financially, I think they know the reason they want a smaller deal is because they want to keep renegotiating. Now, I do think like what's happened with Paramount has sort of messed up the finances of South Park and the expectation and what that is, but it seems to not hurt its popularity. So I think they need to figure something out, because you don't want to buy a studio and lose one of your biggest franchises. It's like this isn't Star Trek is just a niche thing. South Park is very mainstream and is still doing very well. So I think if I was them, I would have figured this out by now. I think it's a real stupid move that they didn't. I hope they do. I hope they figure it out. I think the fact that you're letting this happen speaks not great as a studio. And I think the fact that they're like nickel and diming, like, Yellow Jackets, The Late Show with Colbert, and South Park are three big brands. And the fact that you're messing with these does not speak to the future. Supposedly, they do want to bring in a World War Z TV show. That's one of their big brands they want to bring in. And they want to bring in new stuff. But like you could also be making revenue off your old stuff. Supposedly they're going to go through the Taylor Sheridan shows also. But Trey Parker and Matt Stone have way more. So Star Trek is not super mainstream. It's not as big as the other ones. But Trey Parker and Matt Stone is they're gonna have to figure that out. And their fuckery with this is not working out for them. I don't think Trump could cancel South Park. It's just too powerful. That's why I think the Colbert thing is more just a money thing, to be honest, because they would have like devalued it in other ways. I think these guys are just like trying to overemphasize everything and go through everything and stuff like that. But like, don't fuck up South Park. I think it's a dumb move. They should just like figure out a deal. And delaying episodes and messing these things up is just really stupid. I think this doesn't speak to the future of this, and especially like, is Lasseter going to be running Nickelodeon under this dumb Skydance thing? Like, this is not a great future with this. You know what I mean? Like, this does not feel good. So I don't know. I'm not really happy with what's going on with Paramount, and I'm a little concerned at this juncture. But I think basically what it is you know the Trump thing. The merger got delayed a lot because of the Trump lawsuit. They've settled that, and supposedly this will close in October. But the fact of the matter is like, because of all this nonsense, like, I mean, they might screw up South Park, and if I'm running a studio, I would basically just try to work out a deal with them and move on, because like, if what if they say like, well, this is it for us, we'll go to Warner's and make a new show. You don't want that. It won't be as big as South Park, and I think they know that too. But it's effectively two deals that Warner's is messing up, or that Paramount's messing up, and it's because Matt and Trey were good at negotiating back in the mid 2000s that they're in these deals in the first place. And to me, if they were smart enough to do that, I would not continue to mess with them. I would just get their deal so we have this thing, and we can continue making money with South Park. Like, just messing this up is epically stupid, and I don't think, yeah. All right. I think I should take a break, but I'll mention that there is an Assassin's Creed live action show. It has people attached. I hope it's as weird as that movie. It's Roberto Pinto and David Warner, uh, who are from the Halo show and the Westworld and stuff like that. We'll see. It's a good idea for Netflix because they're good at doing that sort of thing. But anyway, um, all right. Oh, we are past 60, so I'll do the flashing lights when we do Fantastic Four. Um, I don't know. This Paramount mergers, I don't think we've heard the end of it. I expect something we'll hear about um, the Daily Show. I think they're going to mess with a lot of things, and I'm really curious what Paramount's going to look like in October. But I don't think we've heard the end of the ramifications of the Paramount merger. Supposedly, also they might sell MTV. They might sell BET. I think they should sell MTV because what are you doing with that shit? We're gonna hear them doing some big moves, which will upset you. So get ready for that. But I have heard a lot of people saying that they're going to sell MTV. That is a reality thing, or ridiculous TV at this point. And there's talk of them selling some of those other brands. So we'll see what happens there. But what is Paramount going to look like when we get to like November or something? Like it just and CBS, like it's really weird. But I think like Paramount Plus is, and there's talks of them merging with Peacock or Warner's and all this stuff. Like I'm really curious at the end of the year what Paramount's going to be because it is gonna be interesting. But I do expect them to sell certain things. We'll see. I don't think. See, I think like if you're Paramount, who are your biggest brands? Like SpongeBob, South Park, Taylor Sheridan's, Yellowstone, stuff like that. They need to figure those things out and get those right. But if I were them, I would make sure those three are okay. And also like on Paramount Plus, emphasize 60 minutes more. That's still a huge show, and they rarely do. I forget I have access to that. Like they need to figure their shit out better. And I think, but I understand. We'll see what happens. But this is not the end of this. This is not I know this week is heavy on it, but like I expect to be talking about this for August, September at the very least, and probably longer than that. We will see a lot of changes for Paramount, and they're going to be selling stuff off like it's a yard sale to a certain degree. So yay. I don't know. Sorry, I know that's like not optimistic at all. Uh, but I wanted to be realistic, not optimistic. All right. I'm going to take a break. We will come back and talk about the Fantastic Four. Um, no, I don't look. I'm not trying to shit on Star Trek. I like Star Trek when I was a kid, but like, I think there are people who like the Star Trek thing, but I don't hear much crossover at this point. Like there used to be. Next Generation was a mainstream show. It used to be more mainstream, but it just isn't doing that as much anymore, unfortunately. But I mean, I think they'll keep making Star Trek shows, but maybe they won't. Who the fuck knows at this point? It's just like, yeesh, yeesh. All right. I'm going to take a break. I will be right back, and then we will talk about the Fantastic Four. What's it? Silver Surfer and the Coming of Galactus two-parter, and I'll be right back in a few minutes. Okay, welcome back. I don't know if last year's going to run Nickelodeon, but that has been a thing that. Hello, hey. Has been mentioned, especially because of his prominence with Skydance. Man, I will say, I didn't talk about this early thing. This summer movie season is definitely one of the more aggressive I've seen in a while. Um, like I know what you did last summer. I would probably see, and I would probably review the original, but like there's so many other things, and I want to get a Superman review, a Superman Returns review, and I just don't have the time to see. I would much rather see Eddington than I know what you did last summer. But like I would look at like September, October. I'm like, why didn't you put? I don't know. That was one I'm super confused by. Same with like, why wasn't Megan 2 a January thing? It's just like we're really overstuffed this summer. I'm not exactly sure what the deal is with that, but they really, oh boy, it's like very aggressive this summer. I'm a little surprised. So I am like trying to catch up. I think after Fantastic Four stuff, I do have a 28 days later and 28 years later reviews, and I'd like to finally get those out too. So but I don't know if I'm going to do Smurfs. I don't know. I might do a silly Smurfs thing if I have time, but sort of want to get the Fantastic Four stuff ready as well. So we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, we did pass on a $20 thing, so I will give us. Why are you not? That's annoying. I mean, I think the thing with the Jason Blum Megan thing is like they really didn't think about like I just think like going against F1 was kind of a dumb idea. And Megan's like if you're gonna move a franchise from like January to summer, like don't do it that way. They could like if Megan came out mid August, I think it would have worked out better than what they did. But it was just like it's also I think the meme of it didn't last ultimately. You know, it's like it was really fun, but like I don't know if people wanted that to be Terminator 2. I'm gonna see it event. I would like to see it. I kind of wish I can only see so much unfortunately. So anyway, sorry, I moved the pillow because now it's more comfortable with that. Fucking this chair. Sorry. Silly. Old man chair talk. All right, so um hold on. I want to come up with one for 1994 anime show. Yes, I would like you to go to that. Thank you. Um what was the name of that? Sorry. Where what was that called? I thought there was going to be. Okay. I guess I do not. Wait, Keith David played Black Panther in the Fantastic Four show? I didn't know that. Damn, I wish I'd done. I would have. Now I gotta watch those episodes. That sounds cool. Keith David, huh? Sounds pretty cool. Maybe they should have. Oh, there we go. Okay. Sorry. All right. So, yes, the Colbert thing was like the second story. Apologies. It's not what I guess you would think necessarily, but anyway. All right. So I'm going to talk about the Fantastic Four cartoon show's 2 episode about Silver Surfer and the coming of Galactus. This cartoon show came out in 1994, at least started airing in 1994, I believe. Oh, thank you, Cornbread. I believe this aired in 1994. This was sort of one of the bigger episodes of this show. And I'm talking about this for 2 reasons. One, um, uh, the movie is about Galactus, so it seemed appropriate. And two, this was kind of the episodes that got me into the show, and I was sort of into the show for a little bit. Now, William Elvin, you threw me. Jim, go see Smurfington, the Eddington and Smurfs movie double feature. You know what? I gotta I gotta give you credit, William Ellman. No one's got me to laugh at any of those like Barbenheimer combination things, but that's really good. That's really good. Cheers to you, man. Smurfington. You got me, man. That I'm surprised you got that joke to work. You deserve some credit for that. Before I continue talking about Fantastic Four, I think Taylor Thomason probably feels good, but you know who really dodged a fucking bullet with this whole late night thing? James Corden. Dude got out before the strikes and got out before everything's getting canceled. I never liked that guy's show, but smart dude for getting out when he did. Anyway, all right. So, um, Fantastic Four. This aired during the Marvel Action Hour. This was with Iron Man, another '90s cartoon, and then Fantastic Four. My dad and I would tape any Marvel cartoon show at the time because we'd rewatch them a lot. So I actually did watch this Fantastic Four show a lot of times when I was a kid. But the thing is, I didn't really like the Iron Man cartoon show. There was a time where like Iron Man wasn't really cool at all. Um, and so when I'd have to watch this tape, I would watch a Fantastic Four and then like have to fast forward through Iron Man. I don't think we watched much of the Iron Man one. We just like had a lot of tapes of it. But yeah, it was part of the Marvel Action Hour, which was the syndicated hour they aired like pretty early. I think it was like Saturday or Sunday, as I recall. But we had all of them. But this was sort of the big adaptation because it's about the three episodes of Fantastic Four, which I don't need to look this up. They're Fantastic Four episode issues 48, 49, and 50, where Silver Surfer shows up and then Galactus comes, and it's a pretty major big deal in comics and literature and like how the cosmic stuff came into the Marvel universe. Like basically, without these three issues and what Jack Kirby did, we wouldn't have the Guardians of the Galaxy. We wouldn't have so much about that. But I want to talk about their adaptation of the Galactus stuff because it's fairly accurate, except for like a major thing that is kind of laughable how they did that. However, so basically, Silver Surfer shows up, is going around the world. The Watcher covers the world in fire through like holograms or whatever. So Galactus won't see it or be like, "Oh, that world sucks. It's all covered in fire." That's basic. That's literally the strategy. I'm not being stupid here. That's literally what they're saying with it. That so they so I was very hyped for this because at the time as a kid I knew that those comics very well. They're always really cool comics and stuff like that. This is fairly like Silver Surfer comes down after the fire stuff. The thing hits him. He falls down. He goes into Alicia's studio. She explains art to Silver Surfer. Silver Surfer's like, "Oh, cool, art's neat. I'm not. Maybe we should go and like not destroy Earth." And he has this whole like whole arc. It was Jack Kirby's idea. This is mainly a Jack Kirby creation. If you anything you like in Fantastic Four is Jack Kirby, pretty much. So he goes there, and it basically follows the thing. Like the Fantastic Four is trying to convince Galactus not to do it. They're trying to fight Galactus. All this stuff. It doesn't work out. Now there's two major differences that are embarrassing. One is like Fantastic Four's neighbor or who runs the apartment building or something is trying to get them is like trying to get them evicted during the Galactus thing. That's not part of the comic, and it's like kind of really dumb. They're really into that. But then the other thing that you wouldn't notice unless you knew the comic. So in the original comic, the Watcher sends Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, out in space to get the ultimate nullifier, which is this thing that could destroy all of existence. Which destroys all of existence. Galactus would then not have Planesty because everything would be destroyed and stuff. And in the comic, this is literally. I want to preface. I am not joking. This is really in the comic. He's basically like Johnny Storm's like, wow, space is so amazing. This is literally too much for my brain. The wonders I am seeing with my eyes. All these amazing planets. I cannot believe what I'm seeing. You see all this cool Jack Kirby art. It's amazing. It's like this whole like his world, his worldview is being destroyed because he's seeing all this amazing cosmic stuff. Again, not a joke. This is in the comic. So in the cartoon, because animating space is hard, I guess. The Watcher's like, "Hey Reed, I think Galactus just like has the ultimate nullifier in his ship behind a box or something. So could you just like get it and then threaten him with it? And that's what they do. Um, which is not as cool as the comic. In fact, Johnny does not have as cool of a role as the comic. It's like such a downgrade. Like it's, I remember being fairly accurate, and I looked up summaries and actually read the comic. I was like, that is like, why did you cut that? Like that's like a really cool part of the story, and you just like, yeah, fuck it. Like, just, yeah, that would take a while to animate. I don't know. So they like the eviction thing is embarrassing, but it's extra embarrassing where they're like, "Where's the ultimate nullifier?" Oh, it's like in his house, just like behind some shit. Don't worry. Then you can scare him, and it doesn't. They make it try to look cooler, which is also dumb. Um, I actually liked this cartoon a little more animation wise. As at the time than the X Men show, which kind of wasn't designed well. Fantastic Four, it was redesigned for animation. I thought they did a good job with that. I remember thought things a little more comic accurate than the other versions of the Fantastic Four. Maybe when they make more Fantastic Four movies, I will review those other shows or other big episodes from it. Um, I think there's certain good things they did with it, and they got it to work for it. But the eviction, like they kind of try to cartoony this up, and it's like a pretty important comic story. And I wish they just done the comic story. I think the awkward animation of the X Men show, they still were able to like get things to work and like have story reasons for why they didn't do stuff. And this, like, their story reasons are like, oh, they might get evicted from their house while they're trying to save the Earth, is like really stupid. And the fact that they cut that Johnny plotline, which is a really interesting, cool stuff with neat Jack Kirby art, I think was a bad idea. The art of like how Galactus ate the planets and like all the Earth and stuff pops off the planet, um, that was actually kind of interesting. They did have some good animation workarounds, and everything with Galactus I actually sort of liked, and like their reasoning behind doing stuff. Those sort of worked, but like cutting that was dumb. The Silver Surfer thing, I think, still worked. You really need to have that be part of the storyline, and then he gets just stuck on Earth and stuff like that. This did actually make me want to watch more of these. I have actually rewatched the show, certain episodes, since I've had Disney Plus. I've actually not gotten that far. What's also interesting in the show, and I guess it's similar to the movie, is they do Galactus before Doctor Doom, which is a weird. I was like, why would. Okay. They do Doctor Doom actually pretty late, which I was surprised by because he's like sort of the Fantastic Four villain. They sort of do the origin one first, and Dick Clark is in it, which is, again, a similar uh, plot as like the at least the trailer where they have them coming out for a talk show. In this one, they have him with Dick Clark and stuff. I do think the show has a certain amount of charm. It was never that big because it was syndicated, and if you're going to be a syndicated show, at that time you come on either really early or on Sunday animated cartoons, which were not super popular. I know I have talked about my nostalgia for it because I learned at a young age, God wasn't real or something, so I didn't go to Sunday school. But so I just watch cartoons because cartoons are real. I don't know about that religion thing. Sorry, I shouldn't say that on the internet, but whatever. But I have a fondness for the show. It actually inspired me to get. I had a whole Fantastic Four phase in like the second part of sixth grade, and I was reading a ton of whatever my dad had at the time, and it's. I think Fantastic Four is a really imaginative, interesting property. Um, this honestly, if you're like, should I watch the show or read those comics? Um, Read the comics. Like this is not as good as that. Like that's really historic and some of the best Kirby stuff I've ever that's ever been done. And like if you ever want to know, like when I was a kid, people would be like, "Oh, you want to know Jack Kirby?" Um, uh, Jack Kirby. They'd say check out the first issues of the stuff, and that never popped as much as like this. Like you really can't deny some of the crowd shots, um, and some of the like the other designs of this. And like it doesn't. I understand they are not Jack Kirby and they couldn't do that, but I really wish like cutting the Johnny thing and then having the eviction thing is a major downgrade. And the show was a little more goofy. I think like, I was like, 11, 12, and this like met me at my expectations. I did like watching it at the time. My memories of the show overall, like I remember the song, I just accepted it. I think the meme later um uh became a thing. I don't remember feeling that weird about it. I was just like, oh, okay. But it is different when you really think about it. But I was watching this a lot. The Marvel Action Hour, in my mind, the Fantastic Four show is way better than the Iron Man show to a really extreme degree. They actually tried to do the comics. I think this one didn't really emphasize it as much. I think it should have been more accurate to the comics. But as a Fantastic Four media at the time, we went through the '60s show and then the one with Robbie the Robot. This was an upgrade in comic book media at the time. Overall, though, I think like most Fantastic Four adaptations, it sort of fails to really capture what was cool about the Fantastic Four and just sort of like makes a lot of sacrifices. Is it better than, I haven't seen the new MCU movie, but is it better than the previous adaptations and even the Tim Story ones and even the Roger Corman movie? Sure. Like I think this is probably one of the better ones. I didn't watch the cartoon that happens after this, but I do think it's like an attempt at doing something. It is trying to be what the '90s X-Men show sort of was. I think they would have done a better job with it, and I think they did a cool. I think they did. Oh, did I say Robbie? Sorry, Robbie the Robot. I was thinking of that. I think they do try to match it and try to do this for a new audience. I just think they could have done more with it, and um, I I it was fun looking back, and I do actually sort of have nostalgia for the show and do enjoy watching it again. But when you really compare it to its source material, it really emphasizes sort of the issues with it and how they really just want to be a silly cartoon rather than being the weird, surreal kind of cool thing that Jack Kirby created. I wish they'd taken a historic comic story and really matched it and adapted it in the best way they could rather than having this silly lady with her little dog or whatever. I think that they really could have done something better with that. Unfortunately, they didn't, but I think this is a decent adaptation, but it doesn't really match the amazingness that those issues have. If you ever read top lists of the best comics of all time, these issues are always pretty high on there, and there's a reason for it. I wish they had actually matched that and done something cool with it. Maybe the new movie will, but it's fun looking back on this. I think the voice cast matches it. I think this was one better designed than the Spider-Man and X-Men shows and stuff like that. And I did really like this thing when I was like, 10, 11, 12 and stuff like that. And it is fun to look back, but I don't think it like, I think it just wanted to be a goofy, family friendly show. And I understand they're Marvel's first family, but it's, when you're coming to this storyline, it's not that they're a goofy family thing. It's that Jack Kirby showed us that Marvel could go to space and how cool it was. And I think this didn't really match all that. It just showed us how powerful Galactus is. And I guess that's part of it, but it's not the whole of it. And I think really going into this and discovering these episodes, it was fun remembering. Like at the time, I remember watching this and going to the comic book store and everyone saying that this was a great adaptation, and they were surprised someone did something cool with Fantastic Four, and maybe I should lower my expectations. But I think if you're going to watch this or read the comics, seriously, just read the comics. Jack Kirby is king for a reason. Sorry we compared it too much, but those are great comics. I'm not gonna sit here and say this is the best adaptation. Sorry. All right. I hope that was a good review. I don't know. I don't know. All right. It's really late. Let's do the question. Sinram. Okay. I'm gonna have some of this energy. Hold on. I'll write questions below. Sing the is this called the Fantastic Four? Something like that. Anyway, sorry. All right. Do we think do we think MF Doom saw the '90s Fantastic Four? That's the question, really. All right. Sinram. Since we tend to read about movies long before their release, we notice when a film starts production with a specific title but then changes it before the marketing kicks in. Off the top of my head, I recall that Bed of Roses' accidental Love, Cruel Intentions, Deception, A Walk on the Moon, Untamed, Shortcut to Happiness, and Playing by Heart were all called something different originally. Is there any particular film you were disappointed by it having ditched its original title? Maybe one where you thought the new title was an improvement. I mean, I think Superman's better than Superman Legacy. I'll say that. Um, Ditched a cooler original title. Hmm. I mean, Blue Harvest is a pretty cool title. Uh, um, huh. There's probably a Friday the 13th one. I can't think of one. I can't think of a cool man. That's a really good question. Um, the only title I've always thought is really funny is how High School the Musical was the temp title, and they just kept it, and everyone was cool with it. And when I bring it up, it's like it was a working title. They just didn't change. I've always thought that's funny. Um, I really can't think of a better one. Like one that I was disappointed that they ditched the original title. I think the Edge of Tomorrow thing. I never liked that they ditched Edge of Tomorrow. I like the Edge of Tomorrow title, so I'm gonna go with that one. So, I hope I answered that right. Sorry, Syndrome. Nathaniel, what's something you hope to see in the Zelda movie? Some '80s fantasy shit, bro. That's what I want. Um, I don't know. I just hope it's like very cool fantasy, and like I think um a good story, because that seems to be what people like about it. But I think Westball could do it. I really believe in him. Austin. Now, Austin, I'm going to say this about Austin. He sent me one question because he didn't know what I was going to review. In all fairness to him, but I don't really have. I sort of answered his question. Sorry, I'm not trying to call you out. He said, "I hope you're." Uh, yeah, I'll read his. It sort of is like, if do you remember anything from the '90s Fantastic Four cartoon, the Johnny Storm song? I feel like I answered that, but it was sort of a funny coincidence. So sorry about that, Austin. I don't mean to call you out. I was just like, that's entertaining that you. Wait, hey, similar minds. You know what I mean? Uh, um, sorry, that cornbread question. Sorry. Here's Austin's real question. It's hey Jim, since you're going to answer my other question, oh sorry, in your review for tonight, my replacement question: what was the best performance of Gene's Haffman career? At least your favorite performance from him? French Connection, 100%. French Connection. I'm not a big Unforgiven fan, but I haven't watched that again in a while, so I know a lot of people say that one. I would say French Connection. Royal Tenenbaums is a big one. I always thought he should come back, but I guess I mean it's not going to happen now, obviously. I thought his Lex Luthor was good. Wasn't he in the Poseidon? No, that's James Caan maybe. I'm just gonna say French Connection. French Connection. All right. All right. Let's go up to. All right. Cornbread first. Let's try to do all these since we won't be here next next week. I'm gonna shut off the lights. But thank you all for your super chats. We'll thank you all later, I guess. Anyway, Cornbread says, okay, so not taking into account Jurassic World and How to Train Your Dragon Making Bank and Five Nights at Freddy's, I'm assuming that is, and they're instantly sacked slave for 26 seconds. Ignoring all that, is Megan 2 bombing signaling the end of Universal? No. I think it just signals that Universal is fine. I mean, they had some huge movies and had a new theme park. I think they just lost Megan. So thank you, Rat Boy Mickey. What is your favorite beach? Vento Samurai. Probably maybe Coney Island or probably Ocean City. Uh, Nachos or chalupas? Nachos, Rat Boy Mickey. Uh, what? I'm not. I'm confused what we're talking about. What don't I fuck with? Bloxy. So fun fact: I'm a huge fan of Furbies. Why not? Why didn't they ever get a cartoon? I don't know. That's an interesting question. I think because by that time they weren't doing as many tie-in things, possibly. Emblood T. Thoughts on Paul Walter Hauser as Mole Man? I like it. Who is Mole Man? Isn't somebody called Mole Man? Was it him? I forget. What's a Marvel comic you wish got a cartoon? I mean, New Mutants. I'd like a New Mutants cartoon. Who do you want to show up in the DCU? Rat Boy Mickey. Definitely. I mean, Wonder Woman. I wouldn't mind a better Flash. Um, huh. Maybe Batgirl because my daughter likes Batgirl. Maybe some DCU stuff. I think Static Shock should be figured out. I keep seeing people say Ryan Coogler. Ryan Coogler's not coming to the DCU, guys. He's gonna go on do his own shit after Black Panther 3. Whenever that happens. Rat Boy Mickey, me, you, 3 rounds of SmackDown, WWE. Who is winning? I don't actually know what you look like, so I'm gonna say you, just because I don't know. So I'll say that. Nathaniel Fogel, what's a band or musical artist you want to get a biopic about them? I think I've said this several times. I think a Eric B. and Rakim biopic would be the best, just because how they changed hip hop. I think it'd be an interesting movie about them. I would also say Big Daddy Kane. I would also say I wouldn't mind a Smashing Pumpkins one about like their bigger albums. I think that would be cool. Black Sky Uncle, what's the best cartoon based on or design solely to sell product excluding the Lego movie? I would honestly say, what's the best cartoon based on or designed solely to sell product? Either He-Man or Transformers. I mean, let's be real. William Allen, oh, thank you for saying this, Groovy. Sorry, I wasn't fishing for compliments. I was just more like, I hope it didn't suck. If you could unearth any lost film footage, what would it be? Mine would probably be the uncensored ending of Todd Browning Freaks. I would say London After Midnight. I would love to see London After Midnight. I think that would be it. Embla T. Film Brain Dude thought the Fix trailer was the worst thing he's seen. What now? I think if you're saying that, you haven't seen enough cool stuff. That's my view. Like to me, like that is not the worst thing ever. I saw people getting that extreme, but I was like, if you're seeing that, you don't see. I thought oh, I heard about Rory's for the first kiss from Dorian. Apparently, that was his son's name was Rory, and it was like a joke. I remember that. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Rat Boy Mickey, should they call Superman 2 Superman Man of Steel? That is such a fuck you. No, I think they should just call it like. Well, I guess you can't call it Superman 2. I don't know what you call it. Just Adventures of Superman, maybe. No, that wouldn't work because yeah, I guess it'd probably have to be something like that. I don't know what you would call it. That's a good point. Captain America Serpent Society. Oh wow, I forgot about that. Jim, do you have a cameo in Loki IRL? No, I have not been. If he asked me, I would do it, but he has not asked me. Probably Mickey. Austin, do you think Mole Man in the Fantastic Four movie will be, we'll say, booums, booums? I don't know. I'm curious. I think he just has a cameo if he's in there. Cornbread. Notice you had done a complete spin on the South Park news once you fully looked into it compared to last week. How surprised were you learning that it is in fact still big with the kids? I was actually surprised. I thought it probably went down in popularity because the reason I was bringing up the U2 thing, I saw a video on the U2 thing. I forgot that like one of the reasons they did it is because they wanted to still make a ton of money on an album, even though they're still a huge live act. They weren't. I don't know. I thought it was really stupid because I'm like, it's not like you're hurting for money, YouTube. So that was why I brought that up. But I was surprised to learn that like high school kids really like South Park. I was like, in the day and age here. But I also do not get like why like people like Friends nowadays. Like, and particularly like it does better with like black people and like other it like does better with non-white people, which I'm like, really? Like fucking Friends? Okay. I don't, some of this stuff like makes no sense to me, the appeal of this stuff. I'm always confused by that. But this is another one where I'm like, oh, really? I mean, we're still okay. I don't know. Some of them, I'm like, you guys like that? Wouldn't you want to like, oh, Man of Tomorrow? Okay, that's a good one. It just confused me. Okay. What are you? Hold on. Sorry. I got lost in the. Okay. William Ellman, can you think of a great premise that was wasted on a lackluster film? I would nominate Escape from Tomorrow. Wait, Escape from Tomorrow. That's Oh yeah, okay. For some reason, I thought you meant the Tom Cruise movie. I agree with that one. Great premise. You know which one I do? It was actually a big script for a lot of years, and until a star got involved with it because he was like, "This script is considered the best script," and I used to read about it in old like Premiere magazine. Was like the Butterfly Effect, and I've always thought like that should have been directed better. And if you had a better director, that could have been like that one bugged me because when I was watching, I'm like, this isn't a bad premise, and the time travel stuff's kind of neat, but like it's wasted on like they didn't have the. I mean, I sort of like that's the only time I ever thought Ashton Kutcher tried to do something interesting, and it was like a smart idea to be like, oh wait, this is the script everyone in Hollywood thinks should be produced, and I'm a star. Like it was his only move I ever thought was kind of I understood and was like, oh okay, but that didn't work out. In time, I think about any time I have to like add time to a card or something, I think about that movie, and I was like, man, that movie's like not good, but it's shot by Roger Deakins, and like that's another one that should be better. I'm sure there are other ones, but those are two that I'm like, oh, the animated Godzilla movies. Those all were horrible. How do you fuck up an animated Godzilla movie? Well, I know because they did it. Jesus, those are so bad. Embla T, you think Paramount is shuffling to keep the old guard franchise alive? Do you mean like the thing on Netflix? That show? I don't know what you mean. What's the old guard franchise? I don't understand. Do you mean the movies with Charlize Theron? Medela Butterfly, what do you want to see in James Gunn Superman 2? Not Lex Luthor. I want Brainiac. I want somebody, Mixie Plix or whatever. I want a different villain. We never get that. We always have Lex Luthor. No more Lex Luthor. I like Nicholas Holt, but like no more. Black Sabbath Will, do you have a morning routine that if you skip part of it ruins your day? I do. It's more like the weekdays and with my kids. The only thing we've been listening to jazz albums in the morning, and that I notice like I really enjoy doing because I think it's a good way to like calm things down and get the kids some exposure to jazz because I grew up with jazz. So that is one thing that when I realized it didn't happen, I'm like, oh man, I could be with a Herbie Hancock or something. Not plausible. Where would you like to road trip if you could? To be honest, I haven't been interested in a while, and I used to do it with my friend Russ, and I would do that if I had no choice. I would probably say, "Can we do that again?" And we'd listen to like music and talk, and that would be nice. Cornbread. I spent a quarter of the Discord yearly budget on SnyderCon. What should I do now? I always like you bring this up like we don't have a. Anyway, go to 7-Eleven and get what you want. What's your favorite running gag in a franchise? Black Sox. Oh wow, that's a good one. Running gag. I don't know if there's a running gag. I can't think of one. Maybe the a lot of the ones in Back to the Future, like almost all of them, I like. So I'll just say that. Sorry. Do you want the 24 carat Lambo? I don't even know what that is, but if someone gave it to me, I could sell it. That'd be neat. William Owen, what would you say is Long Chaney most underappreciated performance? I would say Tell Us the Marine. Man, I don't know if I've seen many that like are underappreciated. I feel like I've seen all the ones that are appreciated. I don't know. I'd have to hold on. Long I'm just doing a quick Google shit. Maybe the unknown, but I feel like that's brought up a lot. And not Unholy Three. See, a lot of this stuff I hear you gets. I think a lot of this stuff people do. I don't know if there is. I don't know. Sorry. I'd say one of those. Just say I apologize. Follow up to WWE. I'm 5'6", 200 pounds. Maybe. I feel like you might win because I'm not. Um, maybe I'm around that. I guess I would win. I don't know. I don't really fight, so that would be that. How do you personally suggest they should try and push Supergirl next year to maximize its chances? Have an awesome trailer. It's supposed to be all this cool sci-fi space stuff, and also design the space stuff cool. Every time I see space stuff, it's just CGI. Bleh. Like make it like really cool. Um, Question: will it take to make this Paramount merger to be even 40% as messy as the recent Warner's merger? I think it'll be worse. Nathaniel Fogo, any cool Superman merch? I don't, but I saw a cool one where Superman fights that kaiju thing in Superman, and they made a toy of both. And if you hit it, slime comes out, and that I might get for my kids because I want it. Medela Butterfly, Man of Tomorrow or Superman Continues? Man of Tomorrow, I think, is better. Superman Continues isn't bad. I guess you can't do Returns. Austin, what do you think is happening in the timeline where Superman Returns got a sequel? I think the other one did okay. The thing is, when people bring up, I have shot a review of that, and I'll just say this now, I guess. I think when people go, oh, it made more than Batman Begins, yes, but it did not cost as much as Batman Begins. That's the issue. So that's why I didn't get a sequel. I think we would have gotten more. Supposedly, he wanted to do more character, but I think Bryan Singer would have left after the first movie. Okay, I think Christian Gutierrez. Oh, the Ellisons produced the old guard movies. I mean, oh yeah, it's Skydance. I mean, maybe. I don't know if they'll make another one. I know there's been talk of it. Okay, Christian Gutierrez. Is there a recent current animation storyboard artist you follow on social media whose work you really recommend checking out? Not a showrunner. I no, I don't. I don't actually know. I don't follow a ton. There probably is someone, and I can't think of them. Well, actually, I follow Danny Hines, and I went to school with him, and I like his storyboards, but that's more because I've seen him come up. So I'm just gonna say Danny Hines. He did the designs uh for Steven Universe and stuff like that. But I'm gonna say him. Thoughts on Shin Godzilla 2 happening? I think that's a cool idea, but I find it a weird time because I feel like we're really looking for the -1 sequel. I feel like that's like a little late, but I'm down with it as a good movie. Um, okay, let's do William Ellman. Have you ever seen Clockers? A long time ago, personally, I say it's time of Malcolm X and Spike Lee's best work. I kind of am like Do the Right Thing's the best one, but I would put Malcolm X probably second. It's been a while. I didn't remember falling in love with Clockers as much, but I've heard people say good things. So that and like I don't know. I would probably put Crooklyn higher than most people, and Bamboozled, and but I've never seen, oddly enough, Mo Better Blues and Jungle Fever, and I would like to do that. But I'd also put When the Levees Break would be high up there. Um, yeah, I don't know. He has a lot of really good ones. Oh, Batman Continues. I like. Okay, yeah, I forgot about that. All right, that is it. I think my Superman review will be out this weekend. Next week, I think stuff will come out, but there's not going to be a live stream. So we'll see what that is or how often I post it. I still want to do stuff. I'm sort of not doing compilations just because the monetization rules changed, and I think I'm okay doing compilations, but I have so much to put out material wise. I kind of don't want to waste a day on stuff like that. So, and I need to figure out how to find a way to re-release the Fantastic Four to the Extreme because the feed is short. I don't know if I can do it on YouTube, but you might see it on. If I figure out a way to do it on TikTok and stuff, I will. But if not, you should check it out because that's funny. Anyway, thank you very much for being here. I want to give a special shout out to everyone who gave a super chat tonight. I want to thank you to Javier Partello, Bloxy Oxalinko, Medela Butterfly, Classic Cameron, Austin, Malcolm, Rampart, uh, Will, Ratboy Mickey, Will, Malcolm Rampart, and William Ellman. Thank you very much for all your support. I very much appreciate it. Cheers to you all. Um, I will be back in 2 weeks. Enjoy the videos and the throwbacks and all that stuff. Thank you all for your support. Thank you for watching my stuff. I really appreciate all of you and being here and being cool in the chat and all that stuff. So have a good night. I will see you all next time. Subscribe. And wait, where's the? Thank you all very much. Y'all are cool, and I'll see you next time. Peace and bye.